The weather, a big factor. Bob Wischusen and Dan Orlovsky. We are upstairs here at Memorial Stadium. Downstairs is Chris Budden. And Chris, those flags are starched. The wind will matter today.
It will. The good news is the rain's going to stay away, but the wind is certainly going to be a factor. They're predicting up to 40-mile-an-hour winds. I've been tracking it all morning, and it will go from nothing to up to 20-plus miles an hour. And when I was talking with James Franklin before the game, he said it will play a significant role today.
And for Penn State, they continue to have to deal with big momentum swings. Back in 2020, the COVID year, they begin the season 0-5, but then win the final 4 games of the season. Last year, they start the season 5-0, and then lose 6 of their final 8, including a loss to Arkansas in the Outback Bowl. This season, they start 5-0. Losses in 2 of their last 3 games, albeit to top 5 teams, as Penn State hoping to still make something of this season, and they still have a lot to play for. As I said, Bob Wischusen and Dan Orlovsky here. And look, when you lose to Michigan and Ohio State, you have those big flagpole games out there that you're hoping to get to, and you're still hoping for the college football playoff, and you come up short. Naturally, disappointment, but James Franklin still believes there's a ton to play for.
Well, I mean, the ultimate goal for Penn State is no longer on the table. That's to win the national championship. But to your point, there is a ton left. I mean, they have 4 games, so they could finish at 10-2, and you're sitting at a top 10 ranking and a New Year's Six bowl, and all of a sudden you sit back, you go, man, that's a heck of a season. And that's the reason why, no matter what anybody outside is clamoring for, that they're going to continue to play their guys, mainly Sean Clifford. I think 2 reasons why, Bobby. Number 1, he's really represented their school about as good as anybody. And the second thing is, James Franklin thinks right now he gives them the best chance to win their football games.
As far as Indiana's concerned, there was a question as to who would start at quarterback for them this week, and maybe to some a bit of a surprise who they chose.
Yeah, it's going to be Jack Tuttle. And the expectation for Jack Tuttle is, well, instant offense, give us a spark. And I understand that, but you can get yourself into trouble thinking that way. The goal for him today is be 1 of 11 and just operate this offense. And then when this Penn State defense, that's one of the top 10 in the country, gives you an opportunity to make a play, that's when you try to be a difference maker for this offense.
And to deal with the wind as well. This could be a tough day for both quarterbacks to spin the ball. Maybe keep it on the ground. Got some budding running backs set to make their way into the stadium for kickoff in a moment.
The College Football Playoff National Championship, Monday, January 9th on ESPN.
Welcome back to the Big Ten on ABC. Just about set for kickoff here in Bloomington between Penn State and Indiana. As we take a look at the Big Ten standings, well, it was a quick start to the year for IU. They actually won their first 3 games of the season, but 5 consecutive losses to follow. And of course, Penn State, they're hoping for a miracle out in front between Ohio State and Michigan, having lost head-to-head games to both. Are there still hopes, though, Dan, for a New Year's Six bowl berth for James Franklin and Penn State? Who knows if somehow the Buckeyes and Wolverines, one of those 2 makes it to the college football playoff. There might be a leftover bid if Penn State finishes the year unblemished.
Yeah, and James Franklin, candidly, this football team for Penn State played Ohio State about as good as they can for 50-plus minutes last week, and we're right in it while giving the ball to them 4 different times and turnover. So as heartbreaking as the loss is, you sit there and go, man, we can go play with anybody as long as we're clean. This is a really good football team.
And had an opportunity to speak with Tom Allen yesterday. And he knows his team is going up against a superior opponent today. Having said that, though, he does believe, as tough as they have played some opponents of late and making the quarterback switch today, also the elements with wind like this can be an equalizer, that they'll have a chance against Penn State.
Yeah, Tom Allen said we got to find a way to win 3 out of our next 4. Don't care how, but that is their goal.
Indiana won the toss and deferred, and the ball blows off the tee. Not surprising.
What a start.
Nicholas Singleton is back deep to receive the kick from Chris Freeman. And I think Chris Freeman's going to need some help. So a backup defensive back, Noah Pierre, is going to come in and lend a hand. And Freeman will send it deep. And we are underway in Bloomington. Returnable for Singleton, but he's going to let it go into the end zone about a yard deep. So here comes Sean Clifford, a sixth-year senior making his 42nd career start today. One of two players in program history to be a four-time captain. And it seems only a matter of time before he passes Trace McSorley and adds another record to his resume. 245 more yards to move past McSorley and be the all-time yards leader passing in Penn State history. He begins with Katron Allen at tailback, and scrambling forward, getting back to the line of scrimmage is Sean Clifford. James Head brought him down. It'll be 2nd down and 10. It's already a banged-up offensive line for Penn State. Now, Hunter Norzad, the starting left guard, is down. Olu Fashanu, the left tackle, out today. So that's the entire starting left side of your offensive line that could be out of today's game if Norzad is hurt. Already dealing with the loss of Fashanu.
And not only your starting left side of your offensive line, but Drew Shelton, the true freshman, has stepped in for Fashanu. And now if Norzad is out, it'll be Tangwall, who's a freshman as well. So the whole left side of their offensive line will be freshmen, both a redshirt and a true.
So while we have an opportunity, let's take a look at today's impact players.
Well, for Penn State offensively, it's Katron Allen, probably the best duo of tailbacks in America, let alone true freshman. He has got great natural tailback skill. And then for Indiana defensively, it's Deshaun McCullough. You're talking about an absolute freak athletically on the defensive side. If Indiana's going to have a chance today, it's going to be because their highest rated recruit ever, McCullough, has a big afternoon.
And there are some young pieces on this Indiana team that you believe give this program hope for the future.
Well, Jamari Sharp, a corner out of Miami, you got to be feeling really good about. Phillip Dunham, we're going to see a ton today in the secondary as a safety. McCullough at linebacker, and then Nick James. So you're looking at a unit, Indiana defensively, that's got some really good young freshman talent to look forward to in the future. That's Cam Jones, their superstar linebacker, who's been banged up so much of this season.
Full house backfield, 2nd down and 10. So Reed Allen looks to bounce outside with a stiff arm, turns the corner. He's got a 1st down. He picks up 11. Forced out by Jonathan Haynes.
Just watch the vision. Just watch the vision. Cut, and then that strength to press off the corner and get that ball all the way wrapped around the backside. That's the natural skill we talked about.
Penn State up tempo. Allen again for 2 yards.
It's kind of a little bit of the identity and philosophy change for Penn State this year. They've become way more tight end centric and run game rather than RPO post snap stuff.
2 tight ends. They move both in motion to a bunch set and go empty. So this certainly forces a defensive check. And they'll throw that screen out to the edge. That's Brenton Strange, the tight end. And he is knocked out of bounds after a gain of 4.
Yeah, just think of the personnel flexibility that James Franklin's offense has. You're talking about putting a tailback and a tight end and Brenton Strange out in those wide receiver spots. You get information from the defense. What are you in, zone or man? And you have matchup opportunities for you to kick the ball to the perimeter and get into a good 3rd down.
3rd down and 4. Sometimes a 4-man front, sometimes a 5-man front for this Indiana defense. And here they bring a blitz. Clifford holds on the football and pays the price. Alfred Bryant on a linebacker stunt comes up the middle, and it's a 9-yard sack.
Yeah, Bryant starts off the ball, and he's just going to be this wraparound backer that's going to come and wrap, and this offensive line is going to struggle to pick it up. There's a fire, there's a stunt. He comes all the way inside that right side of the offensive line. So you trigger the linebacker, he eats up the guard, and then Bryant wraps right behind the hip of him, unblocked. Sean Clifford takes a big shot. Really good pressure by this Indiana defense.
E.J. Matthews lets the punt roll inside the 20-yard line, out of bounds at the 18. A 49-yard punt for Barney and Moore. So, getting the start today at quarterback for Indiana is Jack Tuttle. Now, he was an Elite 11 finalist with guys like Matt Corral, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, transferred from Utah after the 2018 season. Connor Bazelak at times has struggled and also has really gotten banged up. So Tuttle gets a chance to play today. He does intend to transfer next season for his final season of college football and still is a team captain with Indiana. And he'll throw on first down, actually spin out and get walloped near the line of scrimmage. Looks like he lost a yard. Tyler Elsdon was there.
And Jack Tuttle is going to, we talked about in the open, be expected to provide a spark for this offense. I can say there's a little bit more pop in his arm.
And Elsdon heads off with an apparent injury.
We're talking about Tuttle. A little bit more pop in the arm. He'll hang in there and make some throws, and Bazelak had been beat up so much that he started to never trust protection. The challenge for him today in this wind is to change the kind of pace of his football, because everything is often thrown as hard as it can be.
The jet sweep with Shivers. And he goes nowhere. A loss of 5. Kobe King was there to make the tackle for loss. Now it's 3rd down and a mile.
You know, Indiana playing with a center in Zach Carpenter, who's a righty, broke his hand, so now he's snapping lefty against the defensive line for Penn State. That's dominant. Look at that. So that's a total different thing for him. He's practiced for a couple weeks now, but that's something to pay attention to given the weather, ball a little bit slick and this wind, how he handles all that and the challenge of it.
They'll throw one out to the edge. Emory Simmons gets bottled up along the sideline, and it will be an Indiana 3 and out. So backwards on 1st and 2nd down, and the bubble screen does not come anywhere close on 3rd down. So that will send James Evans, number 3 in the Big Ten, and punting average out with the wind at his back.
Yeah, and this is where special teams will come into play for Tom Allen. With, you just mentioned it, Bob, with the wind at his back, backed up, you're hoping that Evans is able to pound one and back up Parker Washington in this Penn State offense.
Here comes the rush. Evans got it away. A knuckleball to midfield. It takes an IU roll, but great field position for Penn State after only a 36-yard punt. I wonder if the wind's affected the beanbags today. For that guy's sake, I better hope so.
What do you call that?
An air ball.
Blake Masters' extreme agenda is a threat to our lives and our families. He'd strip away abortion rights nationwide, no control over our bodies. He'd privatize our Social Security, meaning no retirement security for workers. And he'd give breaks to his corporate supporters while raising our taxes. For Blake Masters, it's all about his agenda, not getting things done for us. Arizona, say no to extreme Blake Masters. Blake Masters' extreme agenda is a threat to our lives and our families. He'd strip away abortion rights nationwide. He'd privatize our Social Security. And he'd give breaks to his corporate supporters. Arizona, say no to extreme Blake Masters.
College football on ABC is presented by Arby's. Arby's, we have the meats.
It was a heartbreaker for Penn State last week. The game of his life for JT Tuimoloau of Ohio State. Not only did he get a strip sack of Sean Clifford that really was the flip of the switch in the 4th quarter for that Ohio State defense, but then his pick 6 iced it. And Penn State had a 4th quarter lead as Katron Allen goes up the middle and gets stood up after a gain of a couple. But in the last 9.5 minutes, Dan, turnovers, a pick 6 by Tuimoloau to ice it, and Ohio State, boy, they made big plays after the sudden change moments of the 4th quarter.
That's the real difference, the big plays. You know, Sean Clifford had some turnovers, not all on him, sack, fumble, and then a tipped ball interception. And Manny Diaz, the defensive coordinator, said they just finished Ohio State and we didn't.
Good run there for Allen. Picks up the first down. That Henderson touchdown run that we saw as part of that highlight package, I think that was a 41-yard touchdown run, and I believe Penn State had only allowed 38 yards rushing on the day before they popped that big one, and that was as big of a play as there was the fourth quarter
and
as
the
well.
throwdown touchdown to the tight end. I mean, they didn't miss tackles all day. I think they had 4 missed tackles. They had 3 on just that play alone.
Allen again. Tries the right side. And there is nothing there. Aaron Casey made the stop. He is in the top 10 in the Big Ten in tackles per game, as he has taken over as that middle linebacker ever since Cam Jones went down.
Bobby, you can make the case he's become a dominant player at the position. He's top 5 in the conference in tackles, top 20 in the country, and he's a guy that challenged in the offseason. Hey, you got to put in more work to have the opportunity to get on the field. He gets it, and now he's obviously relishing in the opportunity.
Atron Allen dives left for 2. It'll be 3rd down and 8 for Penn State. Tywan Mullen came up to make the stop. He is a heck of a corner.
Mullen's played a lot of football for Indiana. His brother plays in the NFL. He leads them in takeaways. 2 things have stood out for him when it comes to his difference this year. 1, much better leadership. And then the second thing is he's become, we saw it on that last play, a significantly better tackler for their secondary. I think in 4-down territory right now, if you're Penn State going into the win, field goal's probably not on it. If you get a couple yards here, 4th and 4, 4th and 5 are on the table.
Play clock down to 4. Clifford takes the snap. 4-man rush. He's got a pocket. Fires one to the sideline. Reaching up to try and haul it in. Mitchell Tinsley. And he's got the 3rd down conversion catch.
Yeah, big time by Tinsley. Watch. He's going to push up. This is called the stop route. Ball's got to come out on time. You got to pull him back to the sideline if you're Clifford. A great connection, fully extended by Tinsley.
And Penn State wants to go as quickly as possible. Maybe beat the replay booth. But it looks like we've got an injured Hoosier.
For injured defensive player.
Tywan Mullen is down. Looks like a cramp.
Hey man, we built for this, man. We work too hard for this, man. We put way too much work in it, so why not? Let's go. Let's be great. Let's have a day. Let's have a day locked in and focused. You gotta love it every day. I love watching you play, man. You know that, man. I love watching you play. Let's go. Everything you got today. Everything you got today. It's time. I feel it. Let's go. Hey, family on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Boy, talk about the definition of a captain. Cam Jones out of today's game, mic'd up pregame and in the middle of every leadership moment with his team during warmups.
The biggest challenge is when you're a leader of a football team, can you impact them when you're not able to play? You know, the injury has hampered Cam Jones this season, and he's hungry to get back on the field. But to your point, Bobby, I mean, you talk about getting guys' attention and getting them to lock in. That's the perfect example of what it looks like.
After the injury timeout, looked like a cramp for Tywan Mullen on the sideline, at least for the moment. A cutback run for the freshman Katron Allen. He picks up a couple more. Of course, Nicholas Singleton, we saw him on kickoff return a short time ago. Mostly a 50-50 split between those 2 freshmen as the primary tailback, and they are a pair with a bright future. Clifford, well protected. He's going to take a shot for the post, incomplete. DeAndre Lambert-Smith, the intended receiver, and Clifford put it a little too far out in front. It'll be 3rd down and 8.
Yeah, I would just love a little bit more touch on the throw. Lambert-Smith's got the post up top. Strange takes the safety, throw it to the middle of the field with just a little bit more touch. And then Keandre Lambert-Smith, who's 6'2", can go and kind of jump for the ball. But big time 3rd down opportunity for this Indiana defense. Watch that linebacker. Does he pop out? I think this guy's going to pop out, and you're going to get pressure off the edge. That's what Sean Clifford's doing right now, managing the protection.
There it is, the pop out and the pressure. Clifford out of the pocket, throws on the run. Down inside the 5-yard line for Tinsley. Did he win the one-on-one battle? He did. 1st and goal, Penn State.
What a great job by Clifford to give Tinsley a chance. He's hand fighting. That ball looks like it lands on, it looks like it really kind of stayed up between him and Jalen Williams. And that's going to be a catch for Penn State.
A timeout call.
Timeout, Indiana.
By Tom Allen on defense. It'll be 1st and goal for Penn State after the 50-50 ball won by Mitchell Tinsley on Jalen Williams. Tonight, our ESPN college football game, a top 10 matchup in Baton Rouge. LSU, Alabama, a huge SEC West contest. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN, as well as the app. Well, they took another look at Mitchell Tinsley's 50-50 battle with Jalen Williams. It looked like Tom Allen called timeout because Penn State was going to run tempo, and they got another look. It was ruled a catch. It's 1st and goal, Penn State. Atron Allen at the goal line, denied. It'll be 2nd down and goal at the 1. And Dan, a flashback for a moment. It seemed like Tom Allen was convinced the ball hit the ground, but we got looks. It did not.
Yeah, and that's the right call by the officiating crew. Probably a worthy timeout by Tom Allen to sit there and say, looked close. That's credit the officiating crew for getting it right. I love this little old school wishbone look by Penn State. Both backs, the tight end, you can flex out of it. Bunch of options.
The toss to Nicholas Singleton. Walks into the end zone for a touchdown. 1 carry, 1 yard, and a touchdown. A 10-play drive. Penn State uses the short field, and they've got the 7-0 lead.
Yeah, this is called pin and pull toss. It's a great crack, essentially, by your tight ends, and you kick the ball out. Everything starts with the down blocks. Both the tackle and Warren got to do a good job with their down blocks. Beautiful pin, and then what happens is you're going to lead block and pull with your tackle and your tight end. That's a beautiful hole now for Singleton, untouched. Really good job by that offensive line. You create the formation with the shift. You down block, you pin and pull, and then Singleton gets untouched to the pylon. We talked about a little bit with this Penn State offense. The difference this year is that the personnel flexibility, specifically in those short yardage situational football moments. And James Franklin knows that's exactly who they've become identity-wise this year.
Even with Sean Clifford and his danger as a running quarterback, you've got Nicholas Singleton now with 8 touchdowns. Katron Allen's got 5, and toss in the 4 from Sean Clifford. That's 17 rushing touchdowns from those 3 players.
Wouldn't you say that this is the best running back duo in America? Certainly a true freshman. And a big key today for Indiana was trying to slow down Sean Clifford in his legs. We saw it on that 3rd down throw to Tinsley.
Coming up on Sunday NFL Countdown at 10 Eastern on ESPN, Chris Berman goes one-on-one with Josh Allen before his inevitable loss to the Jets. And Matt Hasselbeck, you see what I did there? Matt Hasselbeck goes all access with Kirk Cousins and the Vikes. Monday Night Football, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens take on New Orleans. Alvin Kamara and the Saints await 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and the app. You can also catch the Manning Cast on ESPN2. So back to the offense for Tuttle. Going nowhere is Sean Shivers. The Auburn transfer buried in the backfield. P.J. Mustipher came through. Chop Robinson was there as well. A loss of 4.
Yeah, watch Mustipher just blow up that play. Then there's Robinson. Then there's Vanover. I mean, it's a great job at that D-line.
Barely getting it away was Tuttle. And Shivers back to the original line of scrimmage as we check in with Chris.
Jack Tuttle may not have won the starting job at the beginning of the year, but he is one of the unquestioned leaders. Before this season, him and Cam Jones put together a PowerPoint presentation for the entire team to show all the ways that they thought that they could improve. It was a player-led only meeting. And you talk to the offense and they say, this is the guy that we all look up to.
Well, getting the chance to start today in place of Bazelak, and now facing 3rd down and 10. End of blitz. Finds a crosser, though, for a 1st down. The pass protection held up. Emery Simmons came free, and it's a 14-yard gain.
Yeah, you talked about the pass, bro. Beautiful job up front. Shivers comes over, picks up the pressure. You got man coverage, running away. And Emery Simmons wins across the middle of the field. Gosh, that felt needed for Indiana's offense.
Tuttle, wide open. And the other way is Anderson Kobe. Catch and run for Kobe. Inside the Penn State 30-yard line before he's finally knocked out at the 26 by Jalen Reed.
Right side of your screen, there's Kobe. Blown coverage between, it looks like Kalen King. A shallow cross pops for that defense. That offense in Indiana because of that third down conversion. Now the tempo helps them.
Gain of 35 sets them up. Tuttle out of the pocket. He's going to tuck it under and run. And he'll slide into the red zone. They'll mark him down right at the 20-yard line for a gain of 6.
Good decision right there by Jack Tuttle. And that's a little bit of what Walt Bell, their play caller, said could help their offense was his feet both in the design run and when he wants to scramble to go get some yardage.
And the officials stop play again for an injured player. And it looks like it's Curtis Jacobs, linebacker for Penn State, that the training staff is walking slowly to the sideline.
But this is why the third down conversion is so big, because when you play with tempo, going into that third down, Penn State had run 16 plays, Indiana had run 5. They had the ball for over 6 minutes, Penn State. Indiana was at about 2. If you don't get a first down right there, you're putting your defense right back on the field. That's why that conversion to Emery Simmons really allows the tempo to really start to be a part of this game for their offense.
Tuttle, great fake, a little dead leg, a broken tackle, a spin, and a first down to the 5-yard line. 15-yard run by the quarterback.
We talked about Tuttle's legs. There's that quarterback run. You bring the motion, you ball fake, everybody on the defense commits, and then you got the option. I'd go right back to something right now if I was Indiana with Walt Bell, their play caller. Similar, give a zone read.
He gets waffled on the zone read. He barely had time to read. Nick Tarburton, who Walt Bell singled out yesterday as being a much better player than people give him credit for. Boy, he crushed the quarterback.
I think he's the biggest problem for their defensive line, Tarburton, because he's consistent and he plays incredibly hard. If he doesn't make that play, Tuttle's got a seam off the left side.
Low snap, scooped up by Tuttle. Shoots one of the end zone with a flag down, and a sliding catch is made. A.J. Barner for an Indiana touchdown. And this will hold up. Penn State jumped. That was a free play. And Indiana takes advantage.
Offside. Defense number 46. That penalty decline. Result of the play. Touchdown.
Second of the year for A.J. Barner. Campbell puts it through. The touchdown to A.J. Barner, part of a 4-for-4 drive for Tuttle. He did it with his legs and through the air as well.
Yeah, this is Barner right here, and he's going to have a seam that try to sits right there. So play it. There's going to be that offsides. This is a beautiful job. Now freeze it. This is where, as Tuttle's peeking, okay, Barner, you got to do a great job as the receivers bend right in there behind that window, behind that kind of secondary level player before Jair Brown gets over there. Really good job. Like patience right when you get past the snap of your head, and then the throw by Tuttle can bleed him into that back in the end zone. That's a really good job of one, taking advantage of cadence. You know you got a free play, and Tuttle being aggressive and seeing it the same way as A.J. Barner.
Now Barner came back with 5 catches last week, or a couple of weeks ago, I should say, against Rutgers after he missed the Michigan and Maryland games with a foot injury. And really, A.J. Barner's been banged up all year. That was just the latest injury that he had to fight through, but Tuttle's first touchdown pass of the season finds him. And we're now tied at 7. Singleton will let this one go, and we'll check in with Kevin Negandhi.
Now for our AT&T countdown to the CFP National Championship. Georgia down 3-0 after a turnover to Tennessee. Here's Stetson Bennett, bug to Arian Smith.
How about that throw? The mailman delivers one-on-one, little shallow post to the corner there. Got it.
52 yards. That would set up the Bennett touchdown, and it would stand. So Georgia finds the end zone first, up 7-3. Bob, I'm just happy Dan got on a plane and could get there to be in the booth with you.
We were all worried.
Sure you were.
Dan Orlovsky spent quality time at LaGuardia yesterday. Singleton in the game. Tipped ball and tips. Lead to picks. Indiana's got a takeaway. It's Tywan Mullen. He left with a cramp on the last series, but back on the field for his second interception of the season here.
The corner route is really what Mike Yurcich is talking about right there. This is catch and throw. It's spot. Mullen sits on it. That ball should go over his head. Give him credit. He drives on the ball, makes a beautiful play on it. And another tipped interception for this offense to have to deal with.
7th pick thrown by Sean Clifford, but that one off the fingertips of Brenton Strange. And Mullen's interception sets up his offense as Indiana back to work in a 7-7 tie. Josh Henderson. Breaking tackles. That's a terrific run after contact for 8 yards. He ran through the arms of Tyler Elsdon and Nick Tarburton. And Elsdon hurt once again. Here's the second time the trainers have been out to look at Tyler Elsdon.
Bobby, I want to go back to that interception because this is what I'm talking about. You're going to get a spot route, okay, and their corner route. The read is this defender right here, whatever he does. Now freeze it. When this defender drives, you're going to throw that corner right over his head, but Sean Clifford forces that ball. The corner might be a touchdown with a little bit of touch. Missed opportunity for a guy who's played too long.
Out to the bubble it goes. DJ Matthews swallowed up for a loss of a couple. Johnny Dixon made the stop. So now a 3rd down forced by the Penn State defense. 3rd down and 5, or 3rd down and 4, I should say.
And this is where formation becomes a big part of Indiana's offense. Where's A.J. Barner? Can you get him in a matchup? Because he's the guy with the NFL type of body at tight end. He's going to be at the stack right here in this bunch concept. You want to get people running away from defenders in man coverage.
Tuttle look that way. He's going to take off and run again. Slides for a 1st down.
So, Bobby, as a quarterback, when you're playing against man coverage, there's a lot of things. Where's my best matchup? What's the best concept? But also, you know that defenders are running with guys out to the perimeter in coverage. If you see the vacated space in the middle of the field, put your foot in the ground and go get yardage. Beautiful job by Tuttle.
Trying to turn the corner, and there's no corner to turn for Josh Henderson. He lost 5. Sean Shivers, by the way, has 2 carries for -9 yards, and that'll put Henderson back, and I think a dead heat. I think that's his 3rd carry now for net 0 yards. Tuttle actually is by far the leading ball carrier on the ground for Indiana. Henderson with 2 carries for 4 yards, an empty backfield. Play action fake. Tuttle goes down. Adisa Isaac with the sack. That's a loss of 9.
Watch Isaac off the right side of your screen. Left side. Beats that tackle on the inside move. Little ball fake, longer developing play. Equals that sack.
And a timeout called, I believe, by Penn State from the sideline.
Charge timeout, Penn State. Their first of the half. It's be a 30-second timeout.
Penn State late trying to substitute, so James Franklin called a timeout, and we take a look at the All-State playoff predictor. These are the highest percentages to reach the college football playoff. I certainly think in the Big Ten it's going to come down to, as you would expect, a showdown between Ohio State and Michigan. The winner of that game will probably jump up to about 99% to make the playoff, and Georgia, Tennessee You can make an argument they're playing for a playoff spot today.
We've had Tennessee this year. I think Tennessee can afford a loss today because of the win versus Alabama. They would just have to hope that Georgia then beats Alabama in the SEC title game. You're right, Ohio State, Michigan, that's going to determine who gets in out of the Big Ten. And then Clemson, who's got Notre Dame this evening. That's a big matchup. TCU hanging at number 7, hoping for a little bit of chaos in front of them.
Whistles blow this play dead before it gets started. This will be an Indiana false start to make it 3rd down and 28.
False start. Offense, number 77. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
All right, Dan, the nightmare in that committee room, right? Tennessee loses to Georgia today.
By a point.
45-44.
Sure.
And then Alabama beats Georgia 45-44 in the SEC championship game.
Do all 3 get in, is what you're saying?
I mean, is there some strange mathematical possibility that 3 SEC teams could make the college football playoff?
There's always a chance for the SEC. Always. That's just the truth.
Which is what everyone outside of the SEC wants to hear, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Tuttle blindsided on 3rd down and a mile, and now they don't even have a chance for a field goal as Jair Brown came on the blitz for another 7-yard sack.
Yeah, Jair Brown's an All-American. He's an absolute superstar. You can use him in so many different ways. Watch him as the pressure guy that's going to come off. You got to be very strategic of how you're going to block him and with who. You cannot block that young man consistently with the tailback. He beats Henderson, just that inside move. Tuttle's got no time, so you get the turnover, negative play on 1st down, and then back-to-back sacks for an offense that had some rhythm going. Beautiful play by Jair Brown.
The punt down, kept out of the end zone a couple of times by the Hoosiers. Down at the 2-yard line. It's a 42-yard punt by James Evans, and it looks to be perfect special teams execution by the Hoosiers. Perfect.
Ball never crosses, right?
Now the difference between the NFL and college football, because folks are probably saying, wait a minute,
he was in
that
the end
player
zone.
was in the end zone.
Correct.
No, the only thing that matters in college football is the football. In the NFL, the player matters.
Bobby, that's why you're the best in the business, man. You know everything.
So Penn State pinned deep. Quick hitter to Tinsley. Wrestled out of bounds, but with a 1st down. Christopher Keys made the stop, but he picked up 11. Clifford out to Tinsley again. Breaks a tackle with a flag down. Couple of flags thrown as he fought his way for 6.5. Have to check the marker.
I think they're going to get a face mask. Tinsley's head looked like it was ripped down on that tackle.
Personal foul, grasping the face mask. Defense number 7. 15-yard penalty added on to the end of the run. Automatic 1st down.
So 2 quick passes to Tinsley and a 15-yard penalty. And Penn State's off the 1-yard line.
Yeah, there it is right there. Christopher Keys trying to get Tinsley out on the perimeter. Brenton Strange blocking out front. A little bit of that triple option new age out of Penn State's offense. Can I give it? Can I keep it? Can I kick it outside?
I think that's a false start. It's my best guess as to the call on Bryce Effner.
Offense, number 72. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
See, I was right. You talked about how well I know the rules, and that's a false start.
I have absolutely no clue how you saw that one. Especially from 300 feet in the air.
You know what? If you're Bryce Effner and you're going to commit a false start, go big or go home. Right? Just make the mistake 100 miles an hour. Again, it's a quick out. This time it's Parker Washington. And he picked up 5.
Hey, Bobby, let me say this. So that's the 2nd or 3rd kind of 5-yard hitch route we've seen out of Penn State's offense. Everyone, Indiana defensively, their corners have gotten closer and closer. At some point, James Franklin is going to have to dial up with his offensive coordinator, Mike Yursich, a stop and go, a hitch and go double move to take advantage of the aggressive play.
Sean Clifford pointed up at the clock as if to say, are we going to run another play? And they let the 1st quarter clock expire. A good start between Indiana and Penn State, both teams with momentum-swinging plays of the first quarter. And we're back after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
At the Home Depot, we have the tools to make holiday gift-giving magic for all those project-doing, technology-loving, tool-organizing, wood-shop-working people in your life. Get Black Friday savings all through November at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Speak now or forever hold...
Short. He's short.
He makes the stop.
That's too much.
It's college football with AT&T 5G. It's never too much.
Welcome back to ESPN College Football on ABC, presented by Arby's. Set for the start of the second quarter. A moment ago, Indiana had punted Penn State down to the 1-yard line, but the Nittany Lions get themselves out of trouble. Quarterback run. Sean Clifford ahead for 4 yards. It'll be 3rd down and 6.
Penn State has been in 2 3rd and longs already in this game. 3rd and medium, 3rd and long. Both times they've struggled to pick up pressure from Indiana, a blitz. Really good communication here is needed by their offensive line. Be ready for loopers. That's the big thing that they've really handled. Now, 3-man front, you're going to get action ball with these guys. Sean Clifford, communicate. Who are we blocking? Who's got who? And then you got to handle the stunts going on by the defensive line.
Indiana rushes only 3. Now they bring a 4th late, long out throw there for Parker Washington. Terrific throw from Sean Clifford, a long throw to the sideline to pick up 14 on 3rd down.
Well, watch the route though, Bobby. Watch him push vertical. Okay, you set him at the line of scrimmage, stay vertical, now snap away. And then Sean Clifford pull me to the sideline. Really good job route running and ball placement.
Singleton lost his footing, picks up 3.
You know, Parker Washington, you're not going to find a bigger fan of his game than mine. I think he's got hidden yards for this offense. He's a phenomenal route runner. He had a great game last week, built like a tailback. He's a big-time player on the perimeter, man.
Clifford wants the home run ball, but overthrows everyone. Mitchell Tinsley broke his route off. He was airmailed by Clifford, so it'll set up a 3rd down and 7.
Yeah, if I'm Indiana defensively, I'm not sitting back. You know, I kind of mentioned they came after Sean Clifford twice. One time hit him. As you're seeing Mike Yurcich right now, that's the game that he's got to handle right now. Twice they pressured me and got home. Once they didn't. You got to anticipate the blitz and man coverage from Indiana.
This time Indiana brings an extra. There's a lob for Lambert Smith, incomplete as it floats out of bounds. So now a 4th down at the plus 45-yard line. And James Franklin will play field position. And we'll see if Barney Moore can pin Indiana inside their 10-yard line.
Right now, you got to feel great if you're Indiana defensively. You turn the ball over, you've gotten off the field on 3rd down a bunch, and then if you're James Franklin, candidly, you're sitting there going, we got to be better in our pass protection unit. And then Sean Clifford has got to throw the better on those 3rd down situations, similar to what he did to Parker Washington the one before.
Moore with the end-over-end kick. DJ Matthews lets this one float into the end zone. So it comes out to the 20-yard line.
The Penn State defensive line has been absolutely dominant. We've seen it all day from Tara Burton, from Mustapher, from Adisa Isaac. I mean, there has been a beautiful job by that front 4 playing together. You see Jair Brown on that blitz off a tailback one-on-one. You know, Penn State's defense, outside of that big 3rd down conversion by Tuttle and then some of the use of his legs, has played really well in this first half, mainly because their defensive line has been so active.
You have to have your antenna up right now if you're Penn State defensively, as Jalen Lucas, the true freshman, is to the left of Tuttle in the shotgun, and he is a burner. Brought back the opening kick against Rutgers a couple of weeks ago for a touchdown. They'll try to get him the ball in space if they can. They fake it to him here, and instead a long throw outside that was almost intercepted. Kobe, the intended receiver, And Johnny Dixon almost snuck behind him for a pick.
You just mentioned Jalen Lucas, Bobby. The difference is he's explosive. They got to figure out a way to get him 10 to 12 touches a day, even though he's slighter frame. And then Abdul Carter for Penn State defensively started to play a little bit more, solidified their run game.
Lucas stays in and now leaks out. Instead, it's a little button hook for 3 yards to Javon Swinton, 3rd down and 7.
Nothing warms my heart more than when you call that a button hook.
It's old school.
Yeah, it brings me back to being like 6 years old flag football.
Which still puts me in college.
1972.
Just makes me so sad. Lucas stays in as the tailback. Tuttle out of the pocket. He's going to try and run for it. And he slides for a 1st down. He's been good making those decisions to trust his legs.
In man coverage, right? You're playing too deep, man underneath if you're Penn State. So as those receivers break into their routes, everybody's back is to the quarterback. No vision on him. He's doing a real good job at not hesitating in those situations.
Ruling on the field on the previous play was a 1st down. That play's under further review.
So we'll step aside as replay once again stops the game.
Speak now or forever hold.
Short. He's short.
He makes the stop.
That's too much.
It's college football with AT&T 5G. It's never too much.
Eat, play, eat, play, eat, play. Combo! Dave & Buster's Eat and Play Combo is back. Get an entree and a game card starting at $19.99. Now through November 27th, only at Dave & Buster's.
The rule in college football and in the NFL, the moment that a quarterback starts to give himself up, wherever the ball is at that moment, to protect the quarterback, the play is dead. And the officials on the field spotted the ball by 2 yards. You can see here, he's a yard shy of the 1st down, and replay accurately corrected.
The downside is if you're Jack Tuttle, you got 5 or 6 more yards there, plenty of space for you to go get that 1st down. You're trying to get down, not take a shot, but also get the 1st down. Unfortunate for him in that offense.
So that forces an Indiana punt. And Parker Washington calls for a fair catch and fields it at the Penn State 32-yard line. Well, tonight, our ESPN college football game, a top 10 matchup in Baton Rouge. Jaden Daniels and LSU take on Bryce Young and Alabama. A huge SEC West contest. Coverage begins tonight at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN, as well as the app. And there is LSU with a chance in Death Valley to take over the top spot in the SEC West if they can find a way to beat Alabama.
How crazy is that? We saw them at home versus Tennessee get absolutely throttled. Now they control their own destiny.
Singleton up the middle for a yard. Aaron Casey made the tackle.
Casey's such a great story for Indiana, man. I mean, we talked about how much of an impact he's had, big-time player. He's also been great off the field. Just a tremendous leader character has really shown for their defense. I think if you're Penn State, you're trying to get the ball to the guys out in space. Slot defender Parker Washington off.
Singleton. A couple of yards after contact, 3 in all. Bradley Jennings made the tackle, the Miami transfer. So now it's 3rd down and 6.
You got man-to-man coverage if you're Penn State. Off-ball linebacker Sean Clifford's got to have a dial up in his mind. I love this matchup one-on-one. I love the motion for Washington. That should be his guy.
Clifford tucks it under, hit from behind, and he's well short of the 1st down. So Penn State will send the punt group out, as it will be a 3-and-out. Alfred Bryant made the stop.
Yeah, a really good pass-off by this offensive line for Penn State. I want Sean Clifford, freeze it right now, to just climb into that pocket and settle with vision down the field instead of coming a scrambler, because he's going to have both Parker Washington and Keandre Lambert-Smith breaking across the middle of the field. So It's chaos back there, but that's a strength of Sean's, is moving in the pocket rather than leaving the pocket. If he kept his eyes downfield, he had 2 options to throw the ball.
Arnie Moore gets away a wobbly line drive. And Matthews lets it roll. And it takes a Penn State roll all the way down to the 10-yard line. A 51-yard punt, and now a quick word from Cheez-It.
Cheesiest chain for the cheesiest cheese.
Give me that. You don't need it.
To be the cheesiest, gotta snatch that chain.
Wait, how'd you... We need another chain. Cheese it. Feeling the cheesiest.
Bob Wischusen and Dan Orlovsky upstairs. Down on the field, Chris Budden. And Chris is Jack Tuttle back out there.
He is in an interesting, turn of events when he did not get the starting job to start the season. He actually entered the transfer portal. His name is in there right now with all intents and purposes of transferring at the end of the season. The reason he did it when he did is because he's going to stay and finish, get his MBA. But one of the ironies of 2022 college football.
Emery Simmons makes this catch, turns upfield and gets 8. How about the relationship that Jack Tuttle must have with Tom Allen, the head coach, and his teammates, for them to know he's in the transfer portal and he's still a team captain, and he's out there as the starting quarterback today, running away from pressure and dirting the ball here to set up 3rd down and 2.
That situation blows my mind, because my thought is 10 days ago you wanted to leave, you still plan to leave, now you're the starting quarterback, but all your teammates know you also are going to leave. And I know his teammates love him. I know he's a captain for a reason. His teammates love him. But as a quarterback, you're always taught, like, everybody's watching you. And you got to get those guys to basically run through a wall, go die on the field, protect you. And it just blows my mind that situation somewhat is accepted in a way.
They wanted to get it out to Lucas, and it's knocked down at the line by Abdul Carter. So while Indiana tried to get it to their playmaking true freshman, another true freshman for Manny Diaz defended the pass and forced 4th down.
Carter's going to do a really good job of realizing not getting home, balls coming out, getting his hands up. Indiana's fortunate there, though, because if that ball is not batted down, Jair Brown is going to intercept it for pick 6. But Abdul Carter talked about a little bit of, like, he's changed their run defense a little bit. He's really good pressure. You saw it there. He's solidified them a little bit in coverage as well. He's got a very bright future. The freshman from Philadelphia, LaSalle College Prep High School in Pennsylvania.
Here's the 4th punt for James Evans. And this one returnable for Washington. Has a crease. And spins inside the 40-yard line of Indiana. A 17-yard return down to the IU 38-yard line. So now Penn State will have the short field. Great field position for the Nittany Lions. Tied at 7 with 9:53 to go before halftime.
Speak now or forever hold.
Short. He's short.
He makes the stop.
That's too much.
It's college football with AT&T 5G. It's never too much.
Eat, play, eat, play, eat, play. Combo! Dave & Buster's Eat and Play Combo is back. Get an entree and a game card starting at $19.99. Now through November 27th, only at Dave & Buster's.
College football presented by Arby's on ABC is brought to you by Duluth Trading Company. Clothing and gear designed and tested to do.
Buffalo's.
Oh my.
If you're in Bloomington, you can head to Jay Lezier's place. It's been a staple in Bloomington since 1987 when he came from Buffalo, New York, attended Indiana, founded a wing joint that he named after his grandfather. And a lot of guys that look like me end up rolling out of there after a good meal. Katron Allen on the jet sweep, breaks a tackle, gets a block, gets down the sideline, and he's out of bounds close to the 10-yard line.
This is one of my favorite parts of Penn State's offense. Personnel flexibility. Allen is lined up as a receiver. He gets lead blockers by the tight end. Watch this jet sweep. They call those arc releases by both Strange and Theo Johnson out front. And then Allen's got beautiful speed down the sideline. There are those tight ends now. Look, they're back in the backfield right next to Sean Clifford. The ability to move those guys all around is a big part of what they do.
Allen finds a crease, breaks a tackle, looking for the goal line, and powers his way inside that pylon for a Penn State touchdown. So Coach Franklin's Nittany Lions use the short field. Nicholas Singleton's got a touchdown on the ground. And now Katron Allen as well. Both freshmen find the end zone. Parker Washington's punt return set up the short field, and Penn State capitalized.
And it's a great vision cut by Katron Allen. Watch Scruggs, the center, holds off. He cuts all the way backside, and then the strength to get it to the end zone. A much-needed 14-7 lead on the road for Penn State.
Blake Masters wants the government to have total control over whether we can access abortion care, that the government should force us to give birth.
The federal government needs to step in and say, we recognize life here and no state can permit abortion.
We can never let him represent us.
'Twas a night at the Home Depot, at every location. A night when our stores see a grand transformation. We bring out the tools you really do need, like snowmen and string lights and plenty of trees. We work through the night preparing our splendor for Black Friday savings all through November. And what you do next is always fantastic, because we have the tools to make your holiday magic. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
The AT&T Countdown to the College Football Playoff National Championship. Monday, January 9th on ESPN.
Bob Wischusen, Dan Orlovsky, and Chris Budden back here in Bloomington.
Contain your excitement.
Couple of touchdowns for the freshman for Penn State. And now Indiana about to get the ball back. Let's see if Lucas gets a return. He does not. It floats in the end zone for a touchback. And we say hi again to Kevin.
Bob, time now for a mayhem moment brought to you by Allstate. It was 3-0 Tennessee, and Boog, it's all about Stetson Bennett and the Georgia offense.
Yeah, love the little play action, little double move on the bottom, and a nice, easy touchdown for the Dogs.
To Ladd McConkey there, so we saw Bennett on the ground with one. There's one on the air, and here's number 2 for him.
In the red zone, Orlovsky taught me this. Throw it high, let your tall receiver go up and get it.
He can teach you something?
He used to play quarterback? Every now and then.
Really?
Yes.
All right, 21-3. Bob, Dan, back to you.
Did you teach Booger that?
I mean, you know how hard it is to get Booger to understand something, you know, like to really, oh my.
DJ Matthews heading backwards.
To be able to retain information. That game already for Tennessee, Georgia, far too physical for anything Booger was ever a part of.
He was trying to give you credit for a teaching point, and you just go below the belt. That's a 4-yard loss.
I mean, the Penn State defense right now is flying to the football and playing very physical, which is a little bit different than it was to start this season.
Tuttle. He will scramble, and this has been the only positive at any point from a run standpoint for Indiana. They had 1 rushing yard as a team before that scramble by Tuttle. He just picked up 7.
I think Penn State's defensive line needs to stop playing a little bit careless, a freestyle rush, and just try to stay in front of Tuttle and say, your passing game versus our secondary isn't good enough.
Jack Tuttle has 17 yards rushing. The other 3 running backs have a combined -9 yards rushing. So quarterback run has been their only ground attack. They'll try to set up a little crosser here, and fighting for yardage, the old quarterback Donovan McCulley. But he's at least a couple of yards short of the first down.
Yeah, they brought all-out pressure versus Tuttle. He actually does a good job of drifting and finding that shallow cross. But then credit Joey Porter. He's playing man coverage. He's got vision, sees the shallow, falls off, and makes a big tackle. So you're talking about one of the best cover corners in all of college football. He's got great length and great athleticism. But I love seeing just the awareness in the moment to realize, fall off coverage and make the tackle.
James Evans to punt again. Parker Washington with a good return to set up a short field. Last opportunity. And this time, he does not have anywhere to go. And the ball pops out. And it is recovered by Penn State at their own 15-yard line.
Good punch out right there. Just that left hand gets in.
Well, this season, All-State will celebrate every field goal and extra point made by participating universities by making a donation to the university's General Scholarship Fund. Thank you to All-State.
I like this, Penn State. Spread the field. Spread this field sideline to sideline, and then get your playmakers the ball in space. That's what we saw from that Katron Allen touchdown run. This should be what you do today versus Indiana's defense.
There's a slant, and wide open up the seam. Theo Johnson, the tight end, dragging tacklers out to the 44.
He's really just the seam, Bob, and you're trying to put that slot defender in conflict. Watch as he steps up, you replace him with the seam, ball comes out on time. That's a really good job of putting that defender in conflict. What are you going to do? Ball in the belly to back, pull it, throw the seam.
Clifford to the air again. Up the seam again, this time overshoots Theo Johnson, who takes a totally unnecessary hit. Devon Matthews came over, and he's pointing to his shoulder.
See, Bobby, I think it's going to be because it felt late, right? But the ball was outside of Strange or over Strange. It's late. I don't think it's that shot to the head. Matthews pointing to his shoulder, so to speak.
Well, it's two things. Theo Johnson is a defenseless player there. So it doesn't matter if it is a shoulder hit if they rule this forcible contact to the head or neck area or just unnecessary roughness.
But I don't think it's forcible contact to the head or neck area. That's what I'm saying. It seems late.
Yep.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness.
There it is.
Defense number 1. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
You can call a 15-yard penalty simply for an unnecessary hit. That's all that is.
See, I mean, you know me. I'm always like, what are we supposed to ask these defenders to do? And Devon Matthews, excuse me, it just felt a good 2 steps late as Theo Johnson is now looking past the ball. I get it's a big challenge for the young man, but it felt like that was 2 steps too long.
Katron Allen spun down by Deshaun McCullough after a gain of 5. Katron Allen and Nicholas Singleton are both in the top 10 in America in yards per game for a freshman. And Allen was the intended receiver on the down and out. 3rd down and 5.
Again, good internal pressure from Indiana. I'll say it again. If you're Penn State, let's get some information flexing people out. Is it Parker Washington? Is it Tinsley? You're anticipating pressure, and then you're anticipating man coverage. So what matchup do you love if you're Sean Clifford? Can you get a guy running away from the defense? With all these bodies standing up, Clifford's got to communicate. Who are we blocking? Who's the tailback responsible for? And they got to communicate post-snap.
Indiana trying to change the picture, and instead Penn State just runs right at it. Now, that seemed to be from Penn State's standpoint. You can dance around all you want in the tackle box. We're just going to run downhill at you and on the line of scrimmage.
Timeout for injured defensive player.
And Nicholas Singleton picks up the first down. We have an injury timeout, so we will step aside.
Whopper Junior fries, drinking nuggets, all for $5. My queens love it, fit for a royal fam on a budget. I rule this day at BK. Have it your way.
Speak now or forever hold.
Short. He's short.
He makes the stop.
That's too much.
It's college football with AT&T 5G. It's never too much.
We are back with our Aflac trivia question.
Aflac.
In the AP poll era. So we're going back
when you were born.
1936. Nice, my bald spot's big, but not that big. Which FBS rivalry has the most meetings with both teams ranked in the top 5? Kind of in honor of Tennessee and Georgia being both in the top 3 and meeting today.
You think it's UConn-UMass?
Or UConn-BC. I mean, it's one of those Northeastern football rivalries, clearly. Back to the offense. We will answer our Aflac trivia question coming up.
Some struggle right now by Indiana to get lined up defensively. Communication, a big part of it right now.
Toss sweep, Katron Allen looking for a cutback lane and gets tripped up after a 3-yard pickup.
You know, one of the more underrated aspects from Allen, and it's really gotten better. We had Penn State about a month ago versus Northwestern, and in these last 4 weeks, the vision from Katron Allen has gone to the next level. He's surely big, over 200 pounds. He's got great physical skill set, but his vision, specifically on the cutback, has really gotten better the more reps he's had throughout this college season. So I look at Washington right now and just sitting in that soft spot with a little bit RPO in that vacant area.
Allen, first down, into the red zone. A gain of 8.
Yeah, just watch this push up front. Effner, Scruggs, just watch these guys as it's cut back and you pull the backside player, both your tight end and your offensive tackle. That's those down blocks. You saw a little bit down in the red zone. That toss, we call that the pin, and then the pull. Those down blocks front side and the pull off the backside. Doing a nice job of that offensive unit for Penn State.
Allen again. Finds another big hole. A first down gain down to the 6-yard line. Well, Mike Yursich calling plays for Penn State. Why mess with Happy, right? Just keep on running downhill with these freshmen.
What's happening right now for Yursich in this offense is Indiana is stunting. They're moving at the snap of the ball. They're slanting the D-line. They're getting ahead of it, Penn State, and just washing those guys down from where they're trying to go. That's why you're getting some of these gashing holes in the run game. I love it. Shift the tight ends. You're trying to set the formation a certain way to run a certain direction.
Again, it's Allen. Makes a man miss in the backfield. Running through contact to the end zone for his second touchdown. Devon Matthews missed the tackle. One of a couple of tackles missed by Indiana. And Penn State stretches their lead to 2 scores.
I mean, how good is that run? You know, for a true freshman who's had such everything you want. Make the first guy miss, check. Now can you be good in the open field, check. And then can you run through a safety and finish at the goal line? I mean, everything you're looking for in a tailback, Katron Allen has. He's big, he's fast, he's physical, he's got great burst, he's got great balance, strength, vision, speed, and then the awareness. He is a special back for them in the future.
Let's answer our Aflac trivia question. In the AP poll era, which FBS rivalry has the most meetings with both teams ranked in the top 5? You have to think of those obvious rivalry games that have played each other forever over the years. And the odds are that both teams have been really good.
It's Ohio State, Michigan.
Let's see. Look at Dan Orlovsky. And there's a very good chance that they will both be right there when they meet each other again, as it is hard to imagine Ohio State or Michigan losing before they meet Thanksgiving weekend in their big game.
I think Illinois, because of the style of ball that they play, can at least, they're very similar to Michigan, right? We're going to line up with a bunch of big humans at the line of scrimmage. We're going to play smash mouth football. We're not going to try to get overly fancy. We're going to run the football, try to play good defense. They might have a chance to play some good competitive football versus Michigan.
It sounds like the game you have just described is exactly what Penn State is doing today as we check in with Kevin Nagandi.
Bob, Capital One halftime report just minutes away with Booger McFarland. Kevin right here. Right now, Tennessee in some serious trouble, the #1 team in the country.
Yeah, the Georgia defense is challenging Hendon Hooker and man-to-man coverage and forcing him to make throws down the field. And so far, Tennessee hasn't hit one.
Other top 25 teams struggling right now in this mid-afternoon window. Highlights coming your way, including, Dan just mentioned, Illinois losing to Michigan State.
Wow.
I mean, of course. Try to give Illinois a little love and right now losing.
Empty backfield for Tuttle. And he will get swallowed up for another sack. Devon Elise brings him down at the 16-yard line, the 4th Penn State sack. And let's see if Tuttle can get up.
That did not look good. You can see immediately Tuttle go to the shoulder.
Well, Brendan Sorsby, the freshman from Corinth, Texas, is taking some shotgun snaps. This is a young man that ESPN had ranked as the number 13 pocket passer coming out of high school. He had an injury-shortened senior season at Lake Dallas High. He just got to Indiana over the summer.
Yeah.
He was not even one of the early arrivals for spring football. So he's basically been running the scout team. But they like the progress he's made in practice, and it looks like he's going to get an opportunity to come in here against Penn State.
And I would say right now, if you're Indiana offensively, as hopefully Tuttle getting off the ground, you cannot play drop back football. You can see Tuttle and the gingerness of that left shoulder as Elise, who's a 300-pounder, falls on top of him. You just can't protect. Watch this. Right when his right arm goes to the ground right there and it falls onto that left shoulder, I've had that before many a times. I'm not going to assume what the injury is. You just know right away when that shoulder does something, bang, right there. That's not good. But if you're Indiana right now, you cannot ask this 5 offensive linemen to block Penn State. And if you're Walt Bell, their play caller, who's a brilliant offensive mind, man, do not put this young freshman, Brendan Sorsby, behind an offensive line that can't protect. I don't care. RPO, screen, move the pocket.
Well, Sporsby, quarterback run on first down, and he will go down. Chop Robinson with another tackle. That's a loss of 1. So now with 4.5 minutes to go in the opening half, down by a couple of touchdowns, a true freshman backup quarterback facing 3rd down and 20.
And for the rest of this game, 2.5+ quarters, it has got to be ball to the perimeter, run the football, kick out screens. You can't ask him to hang in this pass protection right now with the way that they're blocking and think that this is going to be a good experience for him. Even this situation, 100% should be a screen to the outside.
Penn State will rush 4, and they are all over him again. A complete whiff again for Indiana. In pass protection, Keziah Izzard gets another sack for the Nittany Lions.
Yeah, Izzard off the left side, just completely almost untouched. Runs through the guard, and then Sorsby slammed to the ground. I get it. You're trying to get something going if you are Indiana offensively. You cannot block Penn State's defensive line right now. Do not put your quarterback in these situations.
Evans to punt from the end zone. A line drive to midfield. Returnable for Parker Washington. Fought through a couple of tackles. 3 yards on the return. Let's take a look at today's hardest working player. Brought to you by Duluth Trading Company. And Katron Allen already having himself a day.
You see it on the jet sweep, the speed to the perimeter, and then the vision cut back from the right to the left. A little stiff arm there at the end to get to the front pylon, and then again make another guy miss, run through a safety, and then get into the goal line. Katron Allen has been the star for Penn State today, doing a beautiful job of everything you ask, average over 5 yards per carry, 15 for 81 so far.
Yet another possession for Penn State that begins in Indiana territory.
I think so often if you're an offensive person, you're like, let's go for the kill shot right now, see if we can make this a 3-score game. If I'm Mike Yursich, their play caller, with Katron Allen and Singleton in this offensive line, I don't get too cute. Let's just play smash mouth football and change the line of scrimmage.
Clifford, batted ball at the line. Knocked down by DeMarcus Elliott.
Yeah, good job by Elliott getting a big left paw up. You're trying to get an RPO slant. That's one of the downsides with the RPO is those offensive linemen are trying to run block rather than pass block and get those defensive linemen's hands down, and credit Elliott to feel that and get the left paw up on the slant.
Tunnel screen, and Washington looking for a tunnel, making his own, and hurdles for 5 yards.
I mean, this is so good by Washington. One step up now, come back to the quarterback. Really good job by Indiana running to the football, stiff arm on a defensive tackle. That's what I talked about a little bit before, that he's got almost a body or a frame of a tailback, and he's so difficult to bring to the ground. 5'10", almost 215 pounds. And they've realized we don't have to use him strictly in the slot. We can move him around on the outside and get the ball in his hands.
Wanted the tunnel screen. DeMarcus Elliott closed the tunnel, but Washington still able to pick up 5, and here's Singleton. Very close to a first down.
All right, you're calling that play knowing you're going for it on 4th down right now. If you're Penn State, you try to pop the run, 4th and a yard. You don't have to overcomplicate this. Play smash mouth football. Let's get behind our center, Juice Scruggs, our left guard, Hunter Norzad, and we can get downhill at this defense. You're anticipating movement from Indiana's defensive line. They're going to slant one way to the other. Get ahead of it. You've got your 3 tight end unit on the field. Maybe kick the ball outside.
Timeout called from the sideline by James Franklin. The play clock was winding down, and Penn State couldn't get lined up. So James Franklin calls the timeout to make sure that they are set on 4th down. Bob Wischusen, Dan Orlovsky, Chris Budden here in Bloomington. And boy, talk about a 180-degree difference in terms of calling plays for these 2 offensive coordinators.
Sure.
I mean, you own the line of scrimmage if you're Penn State.
Great point.
On both sides. Walt Bell, he's just trying to find answers, whereas Mike Yursich just run the ball downhill.
Yeah, so for Penn State, that's why I keep mentioning, like, don't get too cute here. You know, you are doing such a good job of controlling the pace of the game. Your offensive line obviously gets a feel for what Indiana's trying to do. If you're Walt Bell, Indiana offensive coordinator, it's tough because not only are you getting whooped up front, you got a true freshman backup quarterback in the game right now. So you sit there and go, well, what can I call? If you're James Franklin and Mike Yursich, I run right behind the heart of this offensive line.
They go for it on 4th down and less than 1. There's the downhill run. Singleton gets a push and backs his way easily for a first down.
10 on the carry, Singleton.
Good feel by Singleton. We've kind of seen this Penn State in the pistol today, meaning the back is in the gun essentially, but behind the quarterback. It allows the shoulders to stay square and have greater vision on the second level.
Clifford to throw. He's going to take a shot. Got a man wide open. Theo Johnson lost it inside the 5-yard line. Devon Matthews came over as quickly as he could in coverage. But for Theo Johnson, what could have been?
Now you're going to see a little bit of a pick route come up and down the sideline. Great job of Theo Johnson coming right off the backside of Tinsley. I got nothing for you, bub. That's a beautiful throw. Got to catch that one.
So what looked like a sure touchdown turns into 2nd down and 10. And Singleton wrapped up at the line of scrimmage. We haven't seen much of that of late from Indiana. Stonewalling the run game for Penn State to create 3rd down and 10. Aaron Casey was there on the tackle. Minute 26 to go in the opening half.
If I'm Penn State versus this Tom Allen-led defense, he's their play caller. I'm thinking of finding a way to get the ball out towards the sideline in some of my route concepts. That's been a good thing for your offense today.
Penn State still has 1 timeout left. Indiana's got a couple as well.
You ready for that pressure and loop stunt?
Here comes an all-out blitz. Clifford out to the edge. Flips one down the sideline, hoping for Mitchell Tinsley. That'll make it 4th down with 55 seconds to go in the half. Now the wind, certainly you would think at the back of Jake Pinniger here, and it looks like they're going to try a long field goal.
Bobby, 2 things. Number 1, good job by Sean Clifford, but just situational fair awareness. Go get 6 or 7 yards right there. Then you're a decision maker as a head coach. Also, the back is turned by the defender, Devon Matthews. Just throw that ball to Tinsley with some air, allow him to adjust to it. The guy on defense for Indiana has no clue where the football is. So again, a guy who's played so much football for this offense, there's 2 better things to do with the ball.
Pinniger for a career-long field goal from 50. He's got it. Inside the right upright. A new career long for Jake Pinniger. Knocks it through from 50 yards. And Penn State extends their lead.
That's a big-time pick by Pinniger. Wind swirling all around. He tucks it right inside the right upright. You said career long?
His season long this year was 48, but he had twice before this year kicked a 49-yarder. Well, he's got a new mark. That's a 50-yarder. So the fifth-year senior, number 3 all-time in Penn State history in scoring. Adds another 3 to his career total. And now the Nittany Lions have a 3-score lead with under a minute to go in the half. Line drive kick. It'd be fun to watch Lucas run one back. He's electric, but he is not getting any opportunities. Tonight's ESPN college football game. A top 10 matchup, as we said. Death Valley, the spot for Jaden Daniels and Bryce Young to square off. LSU, Alabama. The top spot in the SEC West in the balance. Coverage begins tonight at 7 Eastern. 4 Pacific on ESPN, as well as the app. How about the matchup tonight, Dan?
Really good. I mean, both these quarterbacks accounting for 21 touchdowns. You know, LSU's the story of how much they've kind of turned around their season and started to play really good football. I think Alabama wins that game, but I honestly think if LSU plays to the style that they've played over the past 2 or 3 weeks, they can give them they can give them a good football game. If I'm Indiana right now, I'm not rushing. A true freshman quarterback who's just getting on the field. I think it's the first time he's actually been up as the second quarterback for this season. Let's get into halftime and figure out what he's comfortable with. What do we feel we can block and or operate as an offense?
And they look to be just playing to get to the locker room as they ran one with Lucas. They'll give him another chance here, and that should take us to halftime. So Indiana will be looking for some answers in the locker room at halftime. How they can do anything at the line of scrimmage against a Penn State team on both sides of the ball that pretty much owned the line. When we come back, Kevin Negandhi, Booger McFarland, they'll be by with the Capital One halftime report after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
This halftime report is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
ESPN College Football on ABC, presented by Arby's. You're watching the Big Ten on ABC. From Dublin or Bloomington, 24/7. Penn State has the lead on Indiana, set for the start of the third quarter. Bob Wischusen, Dan Orlovsky, and Chris Budden here. Talk about owning the line of scrimmage and having a physical running back that can break tackles. Penn State had all that.
In many ways, they've done whatever they wanted in their run game, Bob. You've seen great physical runs. You've seen great vision, speed, strength, and then their defensive line has had an absolute field day. They have had one thing in mind. We are going to attack this offensive line and quarterback for Indiana. Jack Tuttle, who started this game, took so many shots, lands on the shoulder. They're in one of those situations where they got a true freshman playing. They can't block right now against Penn State's dominant defensive line. It's a tall task for Tom Allen's offense in the second half to try to muster up something against James Franklin's defense.
Jack Tuttle lost on a hit in the second quarter. So Brendan Sorsby, a true freshman, takes over at quarterback. Maybe we'll see Dexter Williams as well, as Indiana will have the ball at their own 25-yard line. All right, your Walt Belt, you can't block the other team. Now call plays. What do you do?
It's hard. Right now, the ball has got to come out of the quarterback's hands in about 2 seconds. And I understand maybe that's not the best thing to try to go win the football game. But you also have to be honest with where you are. You got to protect the young man. You don't want to put him into a situation where he can get scarred. So a lot of balls to the perimeter quickly, perimeter screens, RPOs, run the football a little bit. That's got to be kind of what they try to do. Maybe try to run the football right at this Penn State defense, but it's a tall task.
They had -6 yards rushing in the first half, and they're just trying to get Jalen Lucas the ball in space here. He picks up a yard. Chris Button?
Well, Jack Tuttle will not be coming back to the game. I saw him back in the locker room, had a sling in his right arm. He's going to go get more testing done on it. Tom Allen telling me we have to figure out a way to get the quarterback more time, more protection, maybe rely more on the run game. Meanwhile, James Franklin really happy with the way that their defense is held up, other than some of the scrambles by the quarterback. He said offensively, that O-line with a true freshman in there, really proud of the way that they have been able to hold up. He said no one wants to talk about kicking game because, well, no one wants to talk about it. But how about the fact that we haven't let number 12 touch the ball, because number 12, Jalen Lucas, can be a problem from Indiana.
He just touched it on back-to-back plays, and the run game went nowhere, and it's 3rd down and 10. Here's another jailbreak, and that sets up the screen that sails over the head of Lucas. Abdul Carter came through untouched. So right now, Indiana on offense, they are in the tall weeds. They have no answers for the owning of the line of scrimmage by Penn State.
And the reality is this, Bob, if they don't get more productive on first downs, they don't stand a chance versus this Penn State defense. This is one of the top 10 defenses in America, so it's a big challenge to begin with. But because of what's happened in this football game, they got to be better on first down.
So James Evans to punt again. And a chance for Parker Washington to give Penn State field position again. His punt's going to drive him back, though, and he's going to let it hop. That is a perfect punt for Indiana as Washington let it fall, and it rolls all the way down inside the 6-yard line. A 69-yard punt. And again tonight, our ESPN college football game in prime time. A top 10 matchup in the SEC West. In Death Valley, it's LSU and Alabama. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN, as well as the app. And 13 meetings with both teams in the AP top 15. The most in FBS and the second most Alabama, Georgia.
Bobby, that's since 2007.
Right.
So in that's 15 years, or I guess 16 seasons. That's remarkable consistency by both programs.
So Singleton tries to get this drive started and does so with an easy first down pickup of 12 yards. Matthews and Mullen combine on the stop, and Penn State wants to play with tempo. And again, it's Nicholas Singleton taking the handoff. Tripped up at the line of scrimmage for 2 yards.
James Franklin screaming from the sideline, stay up, Singleton. You know, this run game for Penn State, the diversity of it. We had them again a month ago. We talked about how different it was. They've got so many different runs they can get to. Both backs kind of see both schemes the same way, which is really good. It allows them to get a bunch of runs called to figure out what's working and then lean on it in the second half.
Downhill toss to Singleton. Muscles his way for a yard. Bradley Jennings hit him first. And now it's going to be 3rd down and at least 7, if not 8.
Well, Allen's hit some of the big plays. And not only that, he's got that jet sweep that went for a huge run. Singleton has had a couple of the negative runs. Credit Indiana's defense. But the run game has been a really good source of yardage today. This is when these off-the-ball guys come, Bob, that's where you got to pick up the pressure.
Clifford looks towards that bunch set and throws one across his body, but short of the first down to Parker Washington. So Indiana's defense gets a stop. Penn State will have to punt.
Good job by that Indiana unit. They played coverage there, dropped 8. They played man with everything underneath. They forced Clifford to move. And there's that 3 and out. They're going to be tested this second half. They're going to be on the field a lot because of the struggles of the offense. They're going to have to play their best football.
Good tackle made by Bryson Bonds on that last play. That's Connor Delp back deep to receive the Barney Amore punt. And Amore with a knuckleball. Line drive fielded by Delp. Gets some blocks. And Indiana will have good field position at their own 42-yard line after a 44-yard punt, but a 12-yard return. Can Indiana's offense find any answers?
$5 your way, I rule this day. Nuggets, fries, drink bars, just been raised. Add Whopper Jr. is something new. A barbecue bacon Jr. just for you. BK, have it your way.
Blake Masters' extreme agenda is a threat to our lives and our families. He stripped away abortion rights nationwide, no control over our bodies. He'd privatize our Social Security, meaning no retirement security for workers. And he'd give breaks to his corporate supporters while raising our taxes. For Blake Masters, it's all about his agenda, not getting things done for us. Arizona, say no to extreme Blake Masters.
Back in Bloomington with a look at the plausibly live Taco Bell Live Más student section. Student sections across the country are competing to be the Live Más student section of the year all season long.
They're fired up. A little Jumbotron action.
Or were. Indiana with the ball for the 10th time. They have had 6 3-and-outs and 7 punts on their previous 9 possessions, and they'll start this with a 3-yard carry to Sean Shivers. Abdul Carter made the stop, but great field position here for IU if they can do something with it. Play action. Sorsby out of the pocket, looking downfield. He's going to heave a deep ball. Underthrown and intercepted. He was hoping for Javon Swinton, and Kalen King was there to pick it off. There is a flag down in the offensive backfield. Was Sorsby roughed?
No, I think they're
Let's see.
Holding, Bobby.
The result of the play is an interception. After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, Penn State number 56. That will be half the distance to the goal from the end of the play. It'll be first down Penn State. That is number 56, first unsportsmanlike conduct penalty of the game.
This is really good by Kalen King. Quarterback breaks the pocket. He's got man, but also vision to the backfield. Finds the receiver, realizes ball's been thrown down the field by Sorsby. Does a good job of going to make the play. A really good job of kind of playing the defender and knowing what the quarterback was trying to, playing the receiver and knowing what the quarterback's trying to do with the ball.
They got Kalen King on one side, Joey Porter on the other. Those two came into today tied second in America for most passes broken up this season. This secondary, this defense as a whole, has the most passes broken up of any defense 60. Collectively in the country. And now they'll start inside their own 5-yard line, but on the takeaway, the Penn State secondary keeps on getting it done. Atron Allen, jitterbugs up the middle for about 2.
Bobby, you know what's the one thing or 2 things that stand out about that Penn State secondary as well? Every one of them can play man. That's rare. And then all of them, and you saw that on that Kalen King interception, have really good ball skills. You know, the ability to find the football, track the football, and play, and then go make a play with it or on it while it's in the air. I mean, that's why that unit's one of the best units in the country.
Atron Allen turned back after a gain of 3. It'll be 3rd down and 5. And they talk about guys that could play on Sunday. Well, when you put up numbers like this, it's hard to think you're not going to have some guys that are going to play in the NFL back there covering receivers.
Well, so Joey Porter's likely going to be a top 2-round pick in the NFL draft. Certainly has a chance to be a 1. Jair Brown's going to be a 1st-round pick. Zachy Wheatley, who kind of plays all over the field for them in versatility, he's going to be an NFL draft pick. Kalen King will be as well. They got
12 men in the formation, defense, illegal substitution, 5-yard penalty. That results in a 1st down.
Boy, does that hurt IU.
They got 4 or 5 guys for Penn State that are going to be draft picks. But we talked about this a little bit on the first half. There has been a really big struggle with communication on Indiana defensively. We saw it on a bunch of 3rd downs, guys not getting lined up. You see it right there, 12 men on the field. The lack of communication and understanding what they're doing and who's doing it has really been a struggle for this defense.
Well, the officials having a discussion, but it was 3rd down and 5. Mike Cannon's got to get that microphone turned on to inform us further.
Correction, that penalty is a live ball foul. We should not have blown our whistle. We're going to back it up. It's going to be third down.
So now they're picking the flag up. And James Franklin doesn't understand.
Wait, if there's 12 on the field, it's still a penalty.
And I'm sure that's what James Franklin is saying.
There was no substitution by Penn State, if I recall. And there's 12 in formation by Indiana defensively. James Franklin's got every right to be furious right now.
And instead, they go back to where it was before, 3rd down and 5. So Indiana's defense does have a chance to get off the field and flip field position if they can get a stop.
Here comes this pressure. Good job by Clifford. Cadence, change the protection. Now you know you got one-on-one to the bottom.
He looks over the middle, fires one up the seam. Is the ball caught? Did it hit the ground? Brenton Strange, I think he reached around Noah Pierre to make an incredible catch. Is this possible?
Oh, that's a catch. You will not see one better in college football this year.
And Clifford wanted to take a shot. Dumps it off instead to Katron Allen. He gets down the sideline, gets a block. Katron Allen with a cutback. The convoy down the sideline for Allen. A little stutter step, lowers the boom, and gets to the 21-yard line before he's brought down by Noah Pierre, picking up 45. How about those back-to-back plays for Penn State?
You want to know why recruiting matters? Getting players like Katron Allen coming off of the Brenton Strange catch. There's one tackle missed. Now down the sideline. Cut back all the way across the field. Make everybody miss. And then a little stutter step. You know what? I'm done running. I'm going to try to run through you. Credit Indiana in their pursuit. But you're just seeing some of the talent that Penn State has have a dominant afternoon.
Empty backfield for Clifford.
You got a seam right here if you want.
Instead, a long throw to Lambert Smith. He's down inside the 13-yard line. Picks up 9.
Yeah, good job by Sean Clifford. Just pre-snap line of scrimmage, realizing single high safety, meaning one guy's in the middle of the field. Soft coverage. He reads seam to stop route.
Flipped out to the edge. Theo Johnson tight ropes the sideline, but they'll say he stepped out. He's got a first down. It is 1st and goal, and now we've got flags down. On an altercation after the play was over, Keandre Lambert-Smith and Tywan Mullen ended up grabbing each other's face masks, and Lambert-Smith lost his helmet.
Are they going to call offsetting?
Well, if it's after the play is over, the play would stand, right, and that would mean it would be 1st and goal Penn State. It looks like at about the 6-yard line.
The play resulted in a first down. After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, defense, number 3. After the play is over, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense, number 1. Those fouls offset. The result of the play is a first down.
So there it is, offsetting personal fouls.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on those 2 players.
And it will be 1st and goal at the 6.
Yep. There's that left foot right at that 6-yard line. I think this is these two, both Mullen and Lambert-Smith right there. Yeah, I don't mind. I like the fact that they won offsetting penalties. Ooh. I don't mind that.
So it's 1st and goal, Penn State. Katron Allen, easy touchdown. Three rushing touchdowns on the day for Katron Allen. Up to 8 on the year. And Penn State watches their lead grow.
Bobby, so when you are a defense that wants to pressure, you're going to slant your defensive line. As pressure comes, these guys all have to get gaps too. As an offense, we want to know, okay, as long as we shut this down backside, then we have a huge cutback lane. You see it with Katron Allen, walk-in touchdown. That's happened so often today. The defensive line for Indiana stunting because of the pressure, and Penn State offensively shutting it down, creating gaping holes.
We haven't even had a chance to show you again the Brenton Strange catch, which was the highlight of the drive.
What a great catch by Strange, and Katron Allen, Bobby, just turning what is a simple check down into absolute electricity and a physical finish at the end. And then Katron Allen with the big cutback. The Nittany Lions up huge on the road.
Penix takes it, back, steps up, opening, rolls near side, goes to the corner, dives to the corner. He didn't get there. No, they say he did. They say he hit the pylon and Indiana wins.
Boy, hard to believe back in 2020 with no fans in the building during the COVID restart in the Big Ten that a game like that was only witnessed by a handful of people. But it was a terrific matchup the last time these two teams met in this stadium. And Michael Penix not only won that game, but now playing for Washington and putting up some terrific numbers in Seattle.
Penix having a really good year for the Washington Huskies, and obviously there's been some uncertainty at the quarterback spot for IU for the great majority of this year. And feel like over the next couple weeks and leading into next season that will probably remain of who is going to be the quarterback of the future.
Brendan Sorsby out to the bubble. DJ Matthews gets a block and he's close to a first down. It looks like he might have it. Let's see, not about a half yard short.
What a great opportunity for Sorsby, though. You know, like, this is his first week up. We've talked about that. This coaching staff brought him up just to see how does he handle all that in that new role and the information, the game planning.
Tackled for a loss this time was DJ Matthews. Same play, a much different result courtesy of Charlie Ketcher.
You know, what can you retain? How do you go through a game week when you know that you are literally one snap away from actually getting onto the field and you're trying to show your coaches and your teammates, I could be a guy to handle all this important stuff.
Blitz, floating pass to the sideline, misses Matthews, and now it's fourth down. And here comes the Indiana punt group. That's the 7th 3-and-out for the Hoosiers.
You can see right there, coach saying, hey, like, let's get to a reset. I think it's important for the Indiana sideline right now. Someone's got to go over to Sorsby. Hey, like, we understand the situation, some veteran leadership, and kind of walk this young man through this game, because the last thing you want is him getting down on himself, playing up against a very good defense and really struggling to do anything positive of offense. Just trying to allow him to think play by play.
And now a shanked punt that takes a good roll for Indiana. Didn't look good, but it got the job done for James Evans. A 50-yard punt that I don't think ever got more than about 10 feet off the ground.
Looked like Ichiro throwing a ball from right field.
Tuesday night, ESPN will have the exclusive reveal of the next college football playoff top 25 rankings. Reese and the guys will break them down from top to bottom. We'll have coaches' reactions, as well as a live interview with committee chairman Boo Corrigan, the NC State athletic director. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern. 4 Pacific on ESPN, as well as the app. And
let's go, fire me up, man. Drew Aller in the game. I speak for a lot of Penn State fans there. Sorry.
I certainly want to see this true freshman, who now has a chance to take over an offense that's rolling freshman to freshman, as he hands it off to Singleton with flags down.
Holding, offense, number 66. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Correction, half the distance to the goal from the previous spot. Repeat first down.
I honestly like that. Okay, Drew Aller, now, like, we can't play this kind of simple, complementary football balance offensively. It's 1st and 15 plus. Tremendously talented young man. Honestly, calling the game right now, I'm excited. This is in no disrespect to Sean Clifford. I've called a bunch of his games over the past couple of years. He's had a tremendous career at Penn State. I want to see if this young man's got some special in him, because that's the difference right now for Penn State. They need talent at the quarterback spot.
Off to Tinsley as we go down to Chris Budden.
Yeah, there was a nice moment when Aller was warming up. Sean Clifford came over. They talked through a bunch of things, and they were smiling, laughing together. And James Franklin wanted to give credit to Clifford, getting everything that they had heard this week. Are we going to see Aller, everyone, the fan base, the media wanting to know? And here's your 6-year guy really supporting him.
Aller this time scrambles forward and dives close to a first down. It looks like he's got it. And the Penn State sideline loves that. A gain of 10.
I mean, that's 6'5", 240 running right there. He's a big, athletic, dynamic, playmaking quarterback. I love the no hesitation there and turn it into a run.
It looks like the second time in the game that Tywone Mullen is fighting a cramp, so we'll step aside.
We're going to break.
Speak now or forever hold.
Short. He's short.
He makes the stop.
That's too much.
It's college football with AT&T 5G. It's never too much.
Eat, play, eat, play, eat, play. Combo! Dave & Buster's Eat and Play Combo is back. Get an entree and a game card starting at $19.99. Now through November 27th, only at Dave & Buster's.
Sean Clifford only 16 yards away from breaking Trace McSorley's all-time career passing yards mark at Penn State. Pulled from this game for Drew Aller. And you can tell he's living and dying with each play that Drew Aller is running as well. And you know what? Maybe for James Franklin, a move that is more calculated than you even think, because now Sean Clifford should break the Penn State all-time passing mark at home in front of the home crowd next week against Maryland.
And I think Sean Clifford holds a little bit of a soft spot into James Franklin's kind of emotional side, talking about he's represented our program so incredibly well. So I love the fact that James Franklin is going to give him his flowers essentially at home.
Singleton. He picks up about 4. But to your point, Dan, we talked about this. You know, a school like Penn State that has been knocking on the door over the last handful of years, and under James Franklin, not unusual to be playing in New Year's 6 bowl games. They've won a game head-to-head against Ohio State one year when Ohio State went to the college football playoff. So they've been right there, as Sal Wormley, the right guard, being led off the field injured. But they have been right there in the college football playoff conversation. What can you make the argument has held them back? Has it been that big-time, dynamic, top of the first round of the draft quarterback, and can Aller be that guy?
Yeah, I mean, so once we go to 12 teams, they're in all those years that they would be in this year, presuming that they would win their next 4 games. If we just...
Aller's ball tipped at the line.
Bobby, if we just simply looked at the difference between Penn State and Ohio State is going to have 3 quarterbacks drafted in the first round in a 6-year time frame. Justin Fields, rest in peace, Dwayne Haskins, and C.J. Stroud. Penn State hasn't had one in 30 years, essentially, with Kerry Collins. So the fundamental, simple difference between those 2 programs is Drew Aller has to become that first-round draft pick quarterback. That's the difference. They're closer to Michigan, Penn State is, than they are to Ohio State, and it is very basically because they haven't had a dude at quarterback.
He steps up in the pocket here. Rolls to his right. Stays in bounds. And gets stood up by James Head. He got away from Deshaun McCullough.
Aller, the ball carrier, pushed out of bounds by 6. James Head.
So that'll make it 4th down.
And I don't mind that series from him. I don't. We were 1st and long. I scramble on 2nd down. 3rd down's there is nowhere to throw the football. So what's the right decision? Tuck it and run. I'm excited to watch him play for the next 20 minutes of this football game. But for a program that's very good but needs to find a way to jump over very good to becoming great. That's been the journey for James Franklin his whole time. Drew Aller is going to be the key difference.
Gabriel Wosu, the backup punter, with a line drive. That is downed at the 30-yard line by Penn State. Only a 36-yard punt. Under 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Well, taking a look at Penn State against the Big Ten East, and they play those rivalry games and against the teams that are in the college football playoff conversation along with them. The competition gets tough. That's expected. And 7-19 since 2014 when James Franklin took over.
And what's the real difference between them and Michigan? You know, the 1 year that Harbaugh had last year. You know, it's they had that year last year that got them into the playoff, and then all of a sudden the narrative.
Josh Henderson, the biggest run play of the day for Indiana, as Dexter Williams takes over at quarterback, and it's a 23-yard gain for Henderson.
Bobby, the narrative changed. I mean, this is beautiful. The zone read, you hold the end man on the line of scrimmage. Henderson with the violent finish at the end. But the narrative around Michigan changes. They get into the college football playoff, and that's what James Franklin is sitting here going, we've got to get to that point of getting to that narrative-breaking season, essentially.
There's a rifle shot from Dexter Williams for another first down. That to A.J. Barner. So Dexter Williams, who did not play in the 2020 season and then tore his ACL in spring ball last year. So it's been a long time since he's had a chance to be on the football field contributing. But looking pretty good, spinning it to the sideline to Donovan McCulley.
Where the heck has this been? I mean, Dexter Williams is coming and totally ignited this offense. 6'1", 210 from Macon, Georgia. Great Macon song. You see the athleticism, ball's coming out, it's popping off of his hand. You got to love this right now if you're Indiana offensively.
Back to throw again. Long throw, one-on-one, incomplete. Hoping for DJ Matthews. Daquan Hardy had him blanketed. It'll be second down and 10.
You know, I would, if I was Tom Allen in Indiana offensively with Walt Bell, their play caller, I'd really allow Dexter Williams to have the ball in his hands for basically every decision right now. Not only in their pass game, but really in their zone read and/or RPO game to allow his athleticism to play its part.
Gives one to Henderson. Into the red zone with a gain of 5 to bring up third down.
Totally in 4-down territory if you're Indiana offensively. Now, if that's your mindset, run game could be up here in this 3rd and 5 situation. You're going to get pressure from Penn State. They are going to blitz you, and they're going to play man coverage. I'd love to see them bring a guy like Barner from one side of the line of scrimmage to the other and see if you can pick one of those linebackers.
Keeper, Williams, stays on his feet, and it will bring up 4th down. Johnny Dixon hit him first. He's about 3 yards shy of the first down. So like you said, Dan, compelled to go for it with 3.5 minutes to go in the third in the red zone on 4th and 3.
And I would love to see, you know, as much as Indiana plays spread out football, I'd love to see them shrink down a little bit, try to get picks and rubs as a part of this play call. All out pressure, okay? Everybody is going to come. You got soft coverage on the outside. This is when you want to check to something like a quick one-on-one route or a perimeter screen.
Penn State with 7 defenders on the line of scrimmage, and they're all coming. Tipped ball, and it's intercepted. The rush works to perfection for Penn State, and they get the tip pick. Denied Dennis Sutton. Dialed up by Manny Diaz. And Dexter Williams with the deflected ball interception. It's a true freshman that picks him off.
We saw it early on, right, with Abdul Carter doing the same thing. This time Sutton comes, and then the easy interception. This ball is going to get tipped off this left edge. Hands up in the air. Ball gets popped up in the air. Defense knows here comes the pressure. Ball is going to come out. Another takeaway for this defense. See, that's why when you're getting all-out pressure and the defense is sitting inside, you really don't want in-breaking routes. You want to throw the ball to the outside or get a perimeter screen because those rushers know ball's coming out of the quarterback's hands.
Drew Aller hands one off to Singleton. 5 yards up the middle. Aller, a true freshman. Singleton, a true freshman. Katron Allen, a true freshman. Keandre Lambert-Smith, Parker Washington, Harrison Wallace.
Amari Evans at wide receiver. They got some young talent, Bob.
Brenton Strange at tight end. Only a redshirt junior along with Theo Johnson, a sophomore. That's a lot of skill position talent that's going to come back next year as Singleton gets into the secondary and runs a man over en route to another first down.
That's kind of why they've been where they are, right? I mean, this is Penn State. They got a lot of really good players. Just to put it in context, this is a beautiful run by Singleton. Good job up front. That's called a split zone. Tight end starts on the right, comes back across. But Drew Aller's 6'5", 250. Okay, so if you take away the offensive line,
Singleton for 3.
If you would take away his 5 offensive linemen, he's the biggest guy in the offense right now. He is bigger than Brenton Strange. He is bigger than Theo Johnson, or just right around the same as Johnson. If you just compare it to Indiana's defense and you take away their 3 defensive linemen, he's bigger than everybody else size-wise on their defense. That's when you're looking at this young man as a big-time athlete going, gosh, can you be the difference maker for our football team? I'd love to see him control the line of scrimmage. Here comes pressure off this edge. Can you communicate and then go execute? Good. You're easy. He's changing the play now, given what the defense is showing.
Gets the play off. Play action. Over the middle. In stride. First down, Liam Clifford. So Sean Clifford's brother with his 4th catch on the year, but it's Aller that throws the strike. Up tempo. Singleton. And he is tough to bring down. Oh, he just pinballs his way for 9 more yards, delivering the blow to Jonathan Haynes.
Yeah, one-on-one at the top of the screen. I'd love to see the shot in the red zone.
Screen. Theo Johnson has the first down to the 12-yard line.
Really liking the operation right now. This is what you want to see out of a young quarterback. Can you get in the game and operate? You know, it's easy for everyone to sit in meeting rooms. If you're James Franklin, that's what you want to watch. Can you take the practice or the plan, the meeting room to the field, and not only know, but then operate?
Charge timeout, Indiana. Their first of the half. It's be a 30-second timeout.
Well, Indiana right now on defense, that almost has the feel of a basketball team calling a timeout just to slow a run down.
Yeah.
With 37 seconds to go in the half. And again, Alabama LSU coming up at 7 Eastern on ESPN. College football primetime between the Crimson Tide and the Bayou Bengals.
You gotta love the completion over the middle of the field to Liam Clifford. Okay, so this is him. He's got this little kind of crossing seam route. What I love is this out of Aller. When he goes ball fake here and these guys step up, you got to have really good vision of what's going to go on down the field, okay, with those linebackers. Ball comes out. Now here's your window. Rip this ball right in between those guys, out in front. Really good job. There's a lot of moving parts to that play. He executed it well.
Here comes the blitz. It's picked up. Aller. Deflected ball. Incomplete. On the carom, it almost found its way past Amari Evans to Singleton. Instead, it'll be 2nd down and 10 with a half minute to go in the 3rd quarter.
I'm throwing it if I'm Penn State because I want the reps for my offense. I want the reps for this young quarterback. Everything happens so quickly down here. I want you to get a feel for how fast it happens. And can you make not only good, but the right decisions? Got man coverage. Here comes all-out pressure from Indiana. Right now, own the line of scrimmage. It's very similar. Let's make a check to get the ball outside.
They clock at 5. Aller, a little shoulder fake. A touch throw. Flag out. Brenton Strange was held by Jonathan Haynes.
Pass interference, defense number 17. The foul occurred in the end zone. The ball will be placed at the 2-yard line. Automatic first down.
Yeah, they went with a one-on-one. It's called a sluggo, Bobby. Slant and go. You got that all-out pressure. They protected it. Good check at the line of scrimmage. And it forces the defense and Jonathan Haynes to get pass interference. Really good play call.
Allen and Singleton are both in this full house backfield. It will be Allen looking for his 4th of the day and got to the 1-yard line. Let's see if that takes us to the end of the quarter or if Penn State tries to snap it again before the clock goes to zeros. Does not look as if they will. Yep, James Franklin is telling them, let's just wait for the clock to expire. And it'll be goal to go to open up the 4th quarter for Penn State. 3 quarters in the books. And it has been a physical display put on today by the Nittany Lions. They've got a 31-7 lead back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. It's almost hoop season. And apparently there's pickup game court availability here. It's pretty soon they'll be filling up the building just outside. That's Assembly Hall. We'll be rocking. Indiana should be good this year. Start of the 4th quarter. And Penn State down near the goal line trying to punch it through, but they come up short. They've got a 31-7 lead. And on the fall forward by Drew Aller, they thought they had a touchdown, but the officials say no. So it will be.
I mean, Drew Aller looks like he does. Yeah, it looks like he's, I mean, I can't see the ball, but it certainly looks like off that initial hit, he was stopped short. I'd probably go back to the same call if I was Penn State. Close.
Single to the lone setback. A bootleg to the right for Aller. Throws one in the end zone. He's got a touchdown. Harrison Wallace. They went play action. Gave Aller a chance to make a play, and he does. His 3rd passing touchdown of the season.
Bobby, that's a daggone rope right there from Drew Aller now. I mean, I thought as he breaks the pocket, I'm actually thinking to myself, run it. And watch from the left side of your screen. There's not a big window to rip that ball now. And that ball is pasted on the chest of his wide receiver, Harrison Wallace. Freshman to redshirt freshman. God bless, that was a big-time throw.
That's Wallace's first touchdown.
I mean, that was a pretty darn impressive drive right there. You know, like you kind of saw everything you wanted him. A little bit of the using his feet. They ran the ball well. He took some shots down the field, the play action, the decision-making, big time. I love this from Drew Aller. Roll out to the right, get back to number 3 on the backside. Absolutely throw a laser, and the 6th-year senior happy. Nittany Lions just absolutely dominating.
Well, Dan Orlovsky, you said it. A very impressive drive from the freshman Drew Aller.
Yeah, I love the quick decision and ball placement on that short little play action. The ownership of the line of scrimmage. Then this down in the red zone. That's a big-time throw now. You run it to your right. There's not a big-time window. You got to rip that ball kind of back across your body to Harrison Wallace for the touchdown. So a lot of really good stuff right there from Drew Aller. I'm obviously excited calling it. A little action from the quarterback spot. Tremendously talented young man that, you know, I've said it many times. He's going to be the difference for this program if they kind of take that next step or not.
And you wonder if his potential alone puts Penn State in the top 10 to top 7 in the country coming into next year.
With those
based
two
on
backs,
what
Bobby,
they return,
right?
And him.
No doubt. No doubt. With those 2 tailbacks and this defense.
Well, here's the #1 kick returner in America with a chance to bring one back after he initially drops it and can't get started. Jalen Lucas brought down at the 14-yard line. Back to Kevin Nagandi.
Well, let's take a look at the Week 10 window right now. Oregon all over. Colorado over on ESPN. Good one on ESPN2 between UCF and Memphis early in the 4th quarter. Pitt right now at home, beating Syracuse 17-9. How about Liberty up 21-5 on the SEC network against Arkansas? Bob, back to you.
Liberty's got a big game next week. Big game versus UConn.
Down to the 5-yard line goes Daquan Hardy, and it's 1st and goal, Penn State. So Dexter Williams' pass sails, and Daquan Hardy has his first pick of the season.
We've seen this a lot from Penn State's defense today. Pressure is going to come off the edge right here, okay? Now, as this ball is going to get thrown from Dexter Williams, he's trying to throw out here, okay? This defender is going to get right in the throwing window. Ball's going to pop out, sail to the slot, and then an easy interception for Penn State's defense. But that's why, how many times have we seen today this defense bring pressure, it not get to the quarterback, yet still impact the play? Tipped balls, and now the vacant or errant throw from Dexter Williams and another turnover.
That was Dominic DeLuca on the blitz. 3rd interception for Penn State in the second half. And an easy flip for a touchdown to Theo Johnson. Back-to-back Drew Aller touchdown passes. And Penn State continues to pour it on. You know, Dan, it seems obvious to say it with how dominant Penn State has been on both sides of the football.
What you got, bub?
But give them credit. You know, to play in an atmosphere like they did last week at home against Ohio State, to lose 2 out of their last 3, to come after 2 out of 3 losses to Michigan and Ohio State to a half-empty stadium with really no atmosphere today, and obviously the stadium's gotten less and less populated as the game has gone on, and they are still playing hard.
It's a credit to their coaching staff. It's a credit to their players, and that's kind of been the program that they've become under James Franklin. You saw the turnover. They get aggressive on offense. Drew Aller with another touchdown pass. The Lions fans are going to call for him all month.
College football on ABC is presented by Arby's. Arby's, we have the meats.
Well, you guys wanted to get on TV.
Pretty good throw, though.
And we oblige. 2 touchdowns for Penn State in 18 seconds.
Fellas, can we throw it a little harder, please?
It's 45-7.
Nothing like chewing on the string of a hoodie. Brings back good memories.
Sander Sahaydak will kick this one off. And this one returnable for Lucas from the 5-yard line. Jalen Lucas, a little stutter step. He is dangerous. Let's go down to Chris.
New tradition set a few years ago for Penn State defense. They got linebacker U, and it was started by Micah Parsons. After he left, he had a diamond necklace made that says linebacker U. He passed it down, there it is, to Jesse Luketa, who then passed it down to Curtis Jacobs. He doesn't really wear it around very much. He says it just grows dust in my apartment. I don't know where I'm supposed to wear this to, but came out of the pocket of Micah Parsons, who, well, has enough money to make something like that.
He's going to have a lot more.
Tosses it down.
He is going to get many more dollars.
Josh Henderson makes a man miss. Well, if there was a day for any defensive position group to pop a necklace on, it would be today for Penn State, as they have been every bit as dominant as the scoreboard would lead you to believe. Indiana with only 148 yards of total offense to Penn State's 431 yards.
Micah Parsons is the only reason why, like, I can't stand Cowboys fans, and I'm not a huge Cowboy fan, my wife being from Philadelphia. Micah Parsons is like the only reason why I somewhat speak occasionally positive about the Cowboys.
He would be impossible to not speak positively
Yeah, he's
about.
a stud, man. He's a stud player.
Is he the best player in the NFL?
I still think that let's take quarterbacks away, right? Because that's sometimes a silly argument. I still think you got to go Aaron Donald, but it is not a big gap. And I think there's probably this growing group who thinks Micah Parsons is becoming the most dominant player in the NFL outside of the quarterback spot.
Tipped ball. And that one almost intercepted by Sebastian Constantini.
Good job by Constantini, dropping out underneath. You're trying to get that ball just up over the top of your Dexter Williams, just a little bit more air. But good PBU by Constantini.
So sorry.
And off Henderson. A hard-working yard.
26 on the carry. Henderson,
Kobe King in on the stop. It'll be 3rd down and 9 for Indiana.
And James Franklin, we talked about it a little bit, Bob, how good of a job his team is coming. It shows a lot of maturity to your program as well. Coming off of both of those losses to Michigan and Ohio State, they play so well for 50-plus minutes last week. Sean Clifford, a big part of that leadership group. It also shows you the standards that you kind of have on your daily habits as a program.
Williams will run for a first down. Well, if Penn State gets to a New Year's Six game or even just a big-time New Year's Day bowl game,
sure,
and they win it, they would undoubtedly end up as a top 10 team
be 11
if they
and 2,
run the
right?
table and be 11-2 to close out the season with losses to 2 top 5 teams, one of which is going to be in the college football playoff.
For sure. And I would say the ironic thing is they played a lot better against Ohio State than they did Michigan. Michigan was the one game this year that they did not defend the run well, and Michigan early on in that game had control of the line of scrimmage. Without the turnovers, they probably beat Ohio State.
False start. Offense, number 67. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Well, they started off the season with 5 straight wins. The losses to Michigan and Ohio State sandwiched around a win in the whiteout game against Minnesota, and they will certainly be a favorite to win their last 3 games after they polish this one off today. And they are chasing Dexter Williams backwards, and he will simply hoist one to the sideline and throw it away.
You know, what program has kind of have the, I guess, like the national perception or their narrative has been impacted by the college football playoff more? Right? Is there another one that I'm trying to think that you sit there and go, if you're not in the college football playoff, you stink. But they have 2 losses a year.
Right. That the general level of success that should be celebrated probably isn't celebrated enough because they're not one of the 4 teams at the end of the year.
And even what did Coach Franklin say to us yesterday? Because we were kind of talking about that. We're talking about the young guys. Are you going to play Drew Aller? And he, somewhat sarcastic, he's like, all I want to do is beat Indiana.
There's a shot that just misses Donovan McCulley. So I guess the point being, is there another team that you can think of that in the college football playoff era, if you expanded it to 12 teams, would have been in the top 12 more often than Penn State and never been one of the 4 teams to make it to the college football playoff?
I don't think so, right?
Right, so that once this expands to 12, which it's going to,
right,
this is a great example of a team that will probably be perceived publicly and maybe even by its own fan base in a much different light.
For sure. They're one of the 12 premier programs in all of college football because they get into that final 12 ranking.
Anderson across the 50. That's a gain of 6.
But Bob, that's why Aller matters so much.
Yes.
Don't forget they had Will Levis. Will Levis left the program to go to Kentucky. They had, I believe, Justin Fields, or in between when Justin was transferring, was originally going to go there, ends up going to Ohio State after he left Georgia. So they've had the opportunity at least to get some talented guys. They're really good at the running back spot. They've got really talented wide receivers, good offensive lineman. Fashion, who's going to be a first-round pick in the NFL. Drew Aller's got to become that quarterback that sits there and becomes the difference maker that NFL draft scouts come in and go, okay, he's a top 10 pick.
And Indiana downs it inside the 1-yard line. So 99 yards out in front of Drew Aller when we come back. As the sun sets in Bloomington, Penn State leads 45-7. We take a look at this week's college football playoff rankings brought to you by Allstate. I think Georgia's sending a little bit of a message in Athens to the number 1 team.
6?
Yikes. So we will certainly have a shakeup in the top 4. It'll be interesting to see where Tennessee ends up losing in that lopsided a fashion. Will you drop from number 1 all the way out of the conversation. Penn State starts from their own goal line, and Aller sails one incomplete over Amari Evans.
Yeah, just a little bit of a miss by Aller there underneath the fender, kind of in between him and the receiver. You could see him trying to put a little touch on that football more and pull that receiver towards the sideline.
Amari Evans also is a true freshman from Killeen, Texas. Aller, Ohio Mr. Football, as a senior last year. And this time he gives it to Tank Smith, who fights his way off the goal line.
And these are great reps for him, though, Bobby. You know, in these moments, think about it. You're backed up inside the opponent's 5-yard line. It's third and obvious passing situations. You cannot replicate these in practice. I understand it's November, but the fact that he can get these live game reps versus a Big Ten defense in these situations is massive. You want to see everything: ownership, communication, and then go see it the right way after the snap. Comes that pressure.
False start. And is that also part of a quarterback getting a little herky-jerky?
False start, offense, number 56. Half the distance to the goal, third down.
Maybe when he sees that pressure coming, and it's all part of just settling your offense down?
Well, I think it's more like that defensive lineman started his slant move, and that forced the offensive lineman to jump a little bit more than just it was Drew Aller. So, again, really good reps in this environment. I'd love to see him attack the middle of the field.
That's Liam Clifford in motion. And they set up the screen. And it'll be well short of the first down to Clifford. So Penn State will punt from the end zone. That's something I learned early on covering college football. Even if you are not a team that is in contention for a big-time bowl game or the college football playoff.
Sure.
How often coaches who have young football teams value just becoming bowl eligible because you get to practice for 3 extra weeks. And a lot of times they'll use 2 of the 3 weeks of bowl practice, if not more, just to get reps for the Drew Allers of the world, to give them a chance. It's almost like advanced spring practice. I'm sure all those guys are head down to study.
Look, and Kevin back in studio. How about this developing situation? Michigan State at number 16, Illinois. Peyton Thorne and Jaden Reed.
Yeah, how about the receiver winning against double coverage there, Kev?
Illinois down by 8 with under 2 minutes to go. And meanwhile, Georgia, and that dog's defense is good as a Reese's peanut butter cup. Dominant 27-13.
Yeah, and we know Dan doesn't like those. That's horrible taste by him.
Or Twix. He doesn't like Twix either, Bobby.
See, like, this is the problem with society right now, is we hear things and just make stuff up. One, Nagandi and Boog, I do like Reese's Cups, but I think they're overrated. They're average. 2, I love Twix, but my favorite candy is Kit Kat.
All right, listen, if I was to have a chance to talk to Kevin Nagandi and Booger right now, I would ask them.
They can hear you.
If you were going to get a candy opinion between you or me,
just because
can you not take a look at the 2 of us and figure out which one of us is more qualified?
But here's my point.
To give a candy opinion?
Reese's Cups are fine. I just think everyone goes, oh my gosh, they're the greatest things ever. No, they're not. They're very average.
You're too skinny. You have no credibility here. Sorry. Play action. Dexter Williams zips one to the sideline, incomplete for Javon Swinton.
I think the Reese's, like the shapes.
Are we still on this?
I think the shapes, Bob, like the pumpkin or the Easter bunny or the Christmas tree, is better because there's more peanut butter given to the chocolate. But I don't like milk chocolate that much either. I like dark chocolate.
Is there a chance that someone in the truck can work up graphic support for your continued
What do you think is
soliloquy on
better,
candy?
Reese's Cups or Reese's Pieces?
Reese's what?
Pieces. That's PCs, guys. That guy knows it.
You and that guy
Does he
are
know
the only 2
Halloween
people
was...
in America that say Reese's Pieces. 3rd down and 11 for Dexter Williams, who gets to the sideline and gets hit well out of bounds, and there's the flag. Vanover, it looks like, will be guilty of the late hit out of bounds. That'll give Indiana first down.
After the play's over, personal foul, late hit out of bounds. Defense number 56. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
Yep. Obvious and easy call. Good play by Dexter Williams getting outside of the pocket. And then Vanover, who's had a nice afternoon. He's 2-3 yards out of bounds.
And now the officials, for reasons known only to them, get together with 7:52 to go in the fourth quarter.
Come on, 18, you can dust them.
Jalen Lucas. Tough to find in traffic as we go down to Chris Buck.
I just wanted to insert my opinion that I also agree that Reese's Pieces are superior, but they're also called pieces as if you were to get a piece of the football.
Right.
Also along that lines, Richard Reese, who's a running back for Baylor, has an NIL deal with Reese's. On the weekend before Halloween, he had 3 touchdowns over 140 yards. So Reese's superior altogether.
I mean, you talk about info right there. How does she know all that?
That's incredible.
I feel like I'm going to get blamed for saying I don't like them. I do. I just think there's better stuff.
Third down and 5 in the red zone for Indiana. Williams over the middle. He's got a hook up down to the 6-yard line to Swinton. First and goal.
But I've been overall impressed by Dexter Williams. I know he has that 1 interception because of the pressure and the ball sails on him. But other than that, he's thrown the ball relatively well. He's made quick decisions. He used his feet. I mean, he's played some, I guess, encouraging football out of that position, even though the stats say something completely different.
Quarterback keeper. A broken tackle. To the 1-yard line goes Dexter Williams. Kevin Winston Jr., a true freshman safety, held him out of the end zone. Lucas up the middle. And he is at the goal line and in for an Indiana touchdown.
Jalen Lucas, only 5'9", 170 pounds, so can he punch it kind of up inside? And Big Ten football shows it right there that he can. I'll say it again, just overall an impressive handling of everything by Dexter Williams, using his legs, making timely throws, and then Jalen Lucas punches it in, the freshman from Louisiana.
So IU playing with some pride. They tack on 7 with 6:16 to go. Now under Tom Allen, in his first 5 full seasons, 26 wins, tied for the most in program history. 2019 and 2020 consecutive winning seasons. That's the first time that that's happened at IU since 1993-94. In fact, in the 2020 season, the Hoosiers got up to number 7 in the AP poll. LBJ was in the White House. The Beatles were still together the last time that they were that high in the AP poll. You got to go back to 1967. That's 53 years ago. So while this has been a tough season, and with Michael Penix ending up with Washington, I mean, obviously he's a difference maker at quarterback. They do believe that they are developing a culture here at Indiana where there is a future.
Well, I'd say this. So they got to figure out the quarterback situation. Is Dexter Williams a part of that conversation?
Yep.
But if you think about it, the right side of their offensive line is a redshirt sophomore and a redshirt freshman, Khalil Benson, and then Joshua Sales. They've gotten better every single week. They've got some young talent on the perimeter. Malachi Holt-Bennett, Donovan McCauley. So you sit there and go, okay, that's a good group. We've talked about Jalen Lucas, so there's talent there. And then the defensive group of Dunham and McCullough and Nick James, Jamari Sharp. There's some really good young freshman talent that Tom Allen said We've got youth. We're really encouraged. These 4 weeks are going to be really important for those young players to get a lot of really meaningful reps, because in college football, you can play those 4 games and still redshirt some guys and not waste it.
Well, at Ohio State, so you're saying there's a chance. 2% according to our FBI.
So you're saying there's a chance.
And then at least a puncher's chance against Michigan State and Purdue to get one more win before the season's over. After Mitchell Tinsley handled that onside kick. Here's Tank Smith. Lost 2 yards.
Better movie, Dumb and Dumber or Wedding Crashers?
Lateral move.
It's what? It's Dumb and Dumber.
Apples to apples.
Those are literally the same thing, Bob.
Exactly. Do you get my point?
Dumb and Dumber's got better moments.
I think Dumb and Dumber has become the perfect parallel conversation to our broadcast here in the 4th quarter.
Well done.
Yeah. So Drew Aller, empty backfield on 2nd down and 12.
Good. Control the line of scrimmage. Point out who's protecting.
4-man rush picked up and a strike thrown. That's a 1st down.
I like that from Aller. You saw the linebacker backside was going to pressure, communicated to the offensive line. I don't want you guys to go to the backer on the right, go to the guy on the left. The pressure comes, we're picked up. Now I know I've got that free access out to the right. For all the physical things that I've liked this second half out of Drew Aller, the control of the line of scrimmage, to know what we're going to do versus what the defense is showing us, has been something that I've been most encouraged by.
High snap, he pulls it down, and Tank Smith moves the pile for 4 yards. And that'll take the clock down inside of 4:45 to go. Lem Watley Neely made the stop. And now we have another injured Indiana defensive player. Looks like Ladarius Cox limped off the field. Well, you think about the young talent this Penn State team brings back next season. Drew Aller, our number 2 pocket passer, ESPN recruiting-wise last season. You've got Nicholas Singleton and Katron Allen, the only FBS team to have 2 freshmen this year hit for over 100 yards rushing, and those 2 have combined to do it 3 times. 93 yards rushing for Allen today, 66 for Singleton, and they combined for 4 touchdowns. And just about their entire receiver group outside of Mitchell Tinsley should be back. Tank Smith. A mosh pit for 2 yards. It'll be 3rd down and 4. They'll have some holes to fill on the offensive line, though, Dan. That might be the one area for James Franklin that'll be up in the air. They've got some 5th-year seniors on the offensive line. So how good will the group up front be in front of Drew Aller next year?
So you think about it, Drew Shelton, the true freshman from Downingtown, Pennsylvania, started for Fashanu today at left tackle.
Yep.
Fashanu's going to be back as a sophomore.
Those might be your 2 tackles.
Correct. So you got 2 tackles, and then you've got the interior really has to be solidified. And is that J.B. Nelson? Is that Tengwall? Those are the 2 players that are going to have to develop. They've got Ian Harvey from Royersford, a true freshman as well. So Dominic Rulli, there's young talent, but they're going to have to really solidify the interior of that offensive line.
Now it's 4th down. And with these young players and a true freshman quarterback, looks like James Franklin figures why not go for it with 2:45 to go.
Yep, he's calling out the pressure.
And here comes a blitz. It is picked up and a down and out for a 1st down to Liam Clifford.
This is what you see. Aller's got vision out here. He's going Liz 14. That means that guy's the pressure. I want to send the offensive line that way. Great job of understanding protection, the communication, and then watch 1, 2, 3, and ball's coming out to this out route as he's getting that pick rub from that internal slot. So again, I talk like the understanding of, hey, this is our issue protection-wise. This is how I fix that issue. Great quarterbacks, they're all really good problem solvers. You communicate it, Liz 14, that's telling the offensive line, go left to number 14, ball comes out on time.
Well, as long as Indiana doesn't use any more timeouts and as long as Tank Smith stays in bounds, Penn State at this point could take a knee and end this game at 45-14 as we're under 2 minutes to go. And going on the assumption that IU won't call one of their 2 remaining timeouts, James Franklin now is going to let Tyler Holsworth go in the game, it looks like, and maybe get a carry or 2. Aller fumbles the snap, and he's going to throw the ball. It's a check down out to the edge to Holsworth. And he's out of bounds at the 11-yard line with a minute to go. Well, James Franklin has a team that will be heavily favored to win each of their last 3 games to get 10-2. And then how good will that measure up to the rest of the teams in the conversation for the New Year's Six and the other top bowl games?
Yeah, and you know, Penn State will be looking at who's ahead of them in the ranking and what happens. You know, a big game, Alabama, LSU. Does Alabama win and knock LSU down to 2 losses? And then it becomes a little bit more of a conversation when it comes to those creeping into that top 10, top 12 ranking.
Holsworth gets a carry. And with 56 seconds to go, that is good enough for a first down. And really no reason for Penn State to do anything other than let the clock get under 40 seconds to go and just take a knee.
You know, James Franklin takes a lot of heat. He does, man. I've always been a fan of his. I think he runs a darn good program. I think he's got a very good understanding of who he is and who their program is. Now, it's fair for their fan base to say it's not good enough and they want more. That's fair. That's fair. But I do believe he is a coach that is capable of making that happen.
And what should be the final play of the game, Holsworth for a yard. And it will be the first step after those 2 losses out of 3 for Penn State to get to a 10-win regular season, as they will win this one 45-14 over Indiana. So the Nittany Lions, with games against Maryland, Rutgers, and Michigan State left, but convincing today. For Dan Orlovsky and Chris Button, I'm Bob Wischusen, saying so long from Bloomington, Indiana. Back to the studio, and Kevin DeGan.
Bob, thank